Look at that.
And you hit record, so you're ready to go?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I was running up and down the stairs, getting dressed.
Sorry.
I got my workout. So,
Those stairs get you. I don't know what it is
We'll talk
about
to
the
Shannon
stairs.
about
it's so many of them. All right, friends, we have a 12 o'clock appointment, and is it 12?
11:58.
It's 11:58, so let's go ahead and get started, right?
Might as well.
Might as well.
Might as well.
On time is late,
Late.
early is on time. All right, so there he is, on time, perfect. Okay, so if anybody else has mail for me now, I will take it upstairs. Otherwise, I will be back about midway through today, and I will bring you more envelopes and more cards.
Great.
This is really good stuff, friends, and you've got the time to do it, so just get it done, right? Get in the habit of writing handwritten cards to people. That is just another layer of connection. All right, anything else for me before I go? All right, I'll be back.
Awesome. Okay, well, if you don't have your name tags, just make sure you grab one at the entrance over there. I think we Mary, oh, she's got hers. Brad. Let's go ahead. Okay, everyone's out there. It's perfect. Okay, for those of you who might not know me, my name's Maria Galgano. I've been licensed since April of 2021, have been with KW since. And I'm also part of your AOC Agent Leadership Council, so if you need anything, please feel free to reach out.
That was really fast. Licensed April 21, already part of ALC. Good girl. Way to go.
Thank you, thank you.
You hustled.
Yeah. Gotta get on it, you know?
Good job.
Thank you. Okay, so today we're gonna be talking about capturing leads with open houses. Who here has held an open house before? Who here likes open houses?
I think they can be done much better than what I've done in the past.
Yeah.
I'm attending my first one this weekend.
Okay, nice.
Know that.
Yeah, that'll be good. That would be good feedback for you to kind of see how things go.
Yeah.
Awesome. So we're gonna be going over some of the benefits of open houses and some of the best practices and what to look at to prepare, prospect, and pursue leads.
The window people.
What was that?
I think it's the window people.
Yeah. So for the following questions, I'm gonna give you guys some time to participate, and if your birthday falls on July, raise your hand. Sherry, okay, you'll be the one participating for me right now. So, what challenges did you encounter yesterday when you made your phone calls?
Make my phone calls.
Hey,
Actually, I did make some phone calls, but they weren't the ones that I wrote down I was gonna make, but it was real estate related.
okay,
And I spoke with like some of my current clients that aren't quite there yet with
Yeah.
the loan process, and I'm trying to kind of
yeah.
along, and so that's what I did yesterday.
So
So,
you did some nurturing calls,
yeah.
some,
Yeah, and I
follow up?
talked to another agent about some land that my clients are looking at that live in Arizona, and I'm just trying to
bring them in.
get that going. So I didn't make any new calls. I did write 2 cards and I brought them, but I can't find them.
Oh, no. I hate that.
Who did some phone calls yesterday that would be willing to share? Brad.
Okay, so the phone calls that I did, obviously I had a few conversations with some buyers that are working with me right now. Those were easy phone calls, so to say.
Yeah,
And then, I shared yesterday that I was using the telephone book and just getting people to answer the phone and then using a script.
yeah.
And that went well. I got, I added 6 more contacts to my base.
That's awesome,
Yeah.
nice, yeah.
So I did that, but it's kind of monotonous because you get a lot of beep, 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 this is,
Yeah.
number's been disconnected. But I don't know. It went well. I don't mind using the phone. It's cool to me. I grew up on the phone, meaning in sales.
Yeah,
And, so I had good results from it.
love that.
Good question. So I called 2 people that
Yeah.
I hadn't talked with in a while. I was
Mhm.
pretty excited that I actually picked up the phone to call.
Yeah.
But then I had to leave messages,
Mhm.
and then they're calling me back
Mhm.
when it's not lead gen time. So that's my question. How do you deal with that?
So you're gonna have to set boundaries within your business with your clients, you know, if you know that you don't wanna be taking phone calls at 7 p.m. Then you
These
can,
are, I'm sorry.
then you can set up that expectation.
Mhm.
These might not be clients right now, but they might become clients at one point, so it's important that you know. So I always tell my clients, like, I am not going to respond after 7 p.m. at night. I just won't.
Mm.
Like, at that point, there's probably nothing I can solve, unless we're writing an offer or negotiating something, sure. But if it's something that you're like, I need to talk to the lender, and you're just trying to vent about it, that is not the time for us to have that conversation, because it's time with my family.
Mhm.
And work-life balance is important.
Mhm.
So you're gonna have to be able to set that boundary. Now, if someone's calling you back and it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon, unless you're in a buyer's consult or in a showing or doing other lead generation sources or something else that has to do with your business, and those are the hours that you're gonna have, like 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., then I would pick up that call. You know,
Mhm.
because they're calling you back and you're in business hours, you're working in your business. If I am sitting at my couch, working on emails on my computer that might or might not be related to real estate, but a client calls me and I am in my work hours, I'm going to pick up that phone call.
Sure. Okay,
So,
great.
yeah.
Thank you.
I think you have to. I think we have to like put them in front of some stuff, but
Okay.
I don't
Yeah.
like 8 a.m. people.
You don't like what?
Nine is
8
kind of my
a.m.
thing.
Yeah, yeah.
8 a.m. is not all right.
Like calling someone at 8 a.m., you
I
mean?
don't like people calling me.
At 8 a.m., yeah. I don't like people calling me at 8 a.m. because that's my morning time. But if someone calls me, especially if I have a listing, I'm gonna pick up that call.
They can call me at 10 at night and it's fine.
Yeah,
I'm sleeping.
see, and that's where your boundaries are different than mine. So you might be totally fine telling your clients like, hey, if you call me at 10 p.m. at night, I'm gonna pick up that call. If a client of mine calls me at 10 p.m. at night, I am not going to pick up that call. Like, that's just, I'm just not going to. I can't solve a problem at 10 p.m. at night. Inspector, like, I'm just not going to, like, we need to, for me personally, I want to be respectful of my time with my family. And that's where we teeter the line of, you know, working too many hours and then your family suffers from that. So for me, that's just a personal boundary that I have where,
I think in setting the expectation, you can help your clients understand that everybody we're dealing with doesn't work after 5 or doesn't work after 6. And so really, we can't engage or do anything with the challenge at hand before 8 o'clock in the morning.
Mhm,
So probably would be best to just stew on it,
mhm,
you know, go to bed.
yeah,
You may have a different perspective in the morning, then call me, because then everybody's open, everybody's working, and we can actually meet the challenge and help overcome whatever it is. And that way, you know, it's all about them.
mhm,
It's the reason that you won't take the call.
yeah,
Instead of it being all about me, and
correct.
although I think healthy boundaries are very
Oh,
good.
yeah.
And I think most clients understand
Yeah,
that,
yeah, and
because they have those
yeah,
too.
exactly, and it's true, like, someone can be very heated in the moment.
Right.
You know, they receive an inspection report and they're like,
Yeah.
I wanna get out of the contract right now, and you better write that right
Exactly,
now.
exactly.
No, like, I'm not gonna send a contract out at 8 o'clock at, you know, mutual release or something
Yeah.
like that, at that time, like, it's just, obviously, it depends on the situation and
yeah.
everything, but what I'm trying to get at is that those boundaries are important for yourself, for your clients, for your business as
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
yeah.
So in terms of time blocking though,
Mhm,
during the business day, you've kind of got your time block set up.
Mhm.
So morning maybe is lead gen
Mhm.
and you have to leave a message.
mhm,
And somebody calls back in the afternoon, which maybe you're working on some other thing,
mhm.
be flexible
Yeah,
to take the call.
yeah, and I think, you know, if you're in a buyer's consult, you're not gonna pick up the phone call right away. You can change, like I have changed in my voicemail that I can hit send to voicemail and it sends them a text of, I'm currently in a meeting or unable to take your call, please text me or leave me a voicemail. And my voicemail is also very thorough. And I normally, like, if someone calls me, I'm gonna return them the call as soon as I can. But I don't let people wait. One of the biggest mistakes that we make is not contacting that lead or that person, regardless of whether or not they're a client or not.
Thank you.
Yeah, really, at that point, you don't know if it's a lead
Correct,
or
yeah.
if it's just a personal phone call back to you to catch up.
Yeah. Anyone else would like to add?
So I use the phone
Yeah,
to text.
yeah.
Most of my sphere of influence are used to me texting. And so, I'll get the calling for sure in the future, but,
Yeah.
sent out about 30 texts yesterday,
Oh.
got about 25 responses back.
Mhm.
All great, glad you're doing this,
Yeah.
stuff like that. And then, I followed it up with a text back to them saying, can I get your email address? Cause I don't have a lot of the email addresses. I just have phone numbers. Can I get your email address for the newsletter or the newsletter?
Yeah.
Newsletter. And I got about 20 responses back on that. I got additional 20 emails
Yeah.
in my contacts.
Worked well.
Just yesterday afternoon, so.
It worked well.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyone else would like to add? Thank you for sharing. That's really cool that you got that much response from it. Yeah. Anyone else?
Yeah. You're a Gen Xer in denial.
That's
You
funny.
use the text more than you do the phone.
I do. In my, well.
I do too. I'm a Gen Xer.
And I've got like 400 people that are used to that. And so they would, what is he calling about? He always texts me.
Yeah,
So,
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is kind of hard to break that habit, especially as real estate agents. Like I've even had to correct myself when I'm about to text something to an agent. I'm like, this deserves a phone call.
Yeah.
And then like getting out of the habit of also just texting. But I'm so glad that you got that and that people were willing to give you their emails like that, you know?
I got one
Super
guy that he texts me back, yeah, go ahead, put me on the list, but as soon as I get it, I will delete it and all that other stuff. And I said,
At least you got
well,
his email.
I'll take the chance.
Yeah.
He sent back the laughter.
I'll take the chance.
Yeah, he
That's
loved it.
funny.
Yeah.
That's good. I love that. Yeah, you gotta humor them too. Like, all right, I'll take what you give me. Like, awesome. Well, today, like I said, we're gonna be talking about capturing leads with open houses, best practices, how to prepare, prospect, and pursue. And then we'll go over some ahas and questions that you guys might have as we go. By the end of the session, we'll be able to describe the benefits of holding an open house, how to identify the best practices, and how to be prepared. You can't just, you can just show up to your open house and like, ta-da, I'm here. But if you want a successful open house, there's a lot of preparation that goes on behind the scenes. Now, to start thinking about what you will learn today, let's consider what questions we might have or that you might want to learn about in regards to open houses. Find a partner and give yourselves 3 minutes to talk about some questions that you might have about open houses and have them ready so that we can discuss as a group. So I'll set a timer for 3 minutes and partner up.
Groovy.
Groovy.
So.
You've done plenty of open houses, haven't you?
Yeah, sure. I don't have any questions though.
I'm Ann, by the way.
I'm Sherry.
Good, how are you?
Oh, pretty good. You've been a real estate agent for a while?
No, totally brand new, licensed in December.
Oh, nice.
I'll get you one today. With the red book?
Yeah, I'm not-
Right. Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was. That's right.
Okay.
So.
Goodness gracious, busy.
Yes.
Okay,
Because
well,
somebody
I'm glad you're
open house, like, ready to go on to.
So immediately before this, I had my own online business.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and then prior to that, I was in the grants
Do an open house this Sunday.
Oh, got you, got you.
condos.
It's typically for me,
I've always been curious.
my client.
Oh, my own.
There you go.
Maybe.
So beforehand, I feel like she's gonna answer this.
But if you go like
Best
that,
practices,
but I wanna know. submit an open house.
So you don't really wanna do it just the day before, you wanna do it like maybe.
You start out,
Yeah.
yeah, you do it wrong.
When I've done them, I used to have a partner that, did this full time.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's the one,
He always
that's
had a sign up sheet.
And
And
so
we
normal
always did.
practice, you'll see more.
Oh,
of
because
the seven levels.
Oh, so, oh, you want to know the seven levels?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, you're good, you're good.
Give me what we call it.
What was that? Oh, nice, how'd it go? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right. I'll check it out and see it, because I honestly have never been to one, don't have the site to go
Yeah,
to.
so they may.
What should we do it? Yeah, I love it. That's good. Well, we're just writing down some questions that we have
So who's that?
about open.
Anything you might wanna know
Get a
about
line
that.
on the.
Feel free to join one of these.
You know, it's not your listing.
Yeah, just writing down whatever you would like to learn about.
Go in the Facebook group.
I might be with,
But people jump on
Amanda.
them way faster than I can get in the Facebook.
Yeah,
group. So there
11,
needs to be another
close to
way.
11.
Oh,
yeah.
You're welcome to use it if it's something you think sounds
Now-
clever, but I saw the same people posting open houses that needed to do it every week, like the Grady Group.
Yeah.
And I practically guarantee,
The seller.
Is there any way?
Like,
Right.
Yeah.
You might,
Is everybody here?
They are.
And, they will and they won't.
And
That would be a good
nobody
question
wants
for
to
me,
take
so I
over
asked
the
Nate the
Facebook
other
group.
day about being like,
Right.
So when they find a dependable person that's actually interested, I
drawing
think they
in
would.
there, like,
Good to know.
one special window.
Otherwise,
never-
people read that and thinking it's open for Sunday.
Yeah, it's so hard
So
to.
you
But I didn't know
have.
if
So
there's
you
a
have
way to
to.
get Nate
don't
phone
know.
number.
The other place.
Anybody has got some charges from open houses or not. But I will say that I see signage in our.
You can put up.
All right.
I've seen them do it, so they must be doing something.
Right, right,
So-
exactly. Did you have something you wanted?
Okay, who would like to share,
All the platforms.
some of the
They
questions that they
promoted
have
it.
about open houses?
Oh, that's
So what was your question?
Yeah, good one.
I'm sorry, I was just wondering, how many leads that you would expect if you hold an open house or if you're consistent? What would you expect the return from that to be, you know?
Okay, so your return on the time,
Time invested, yeah, if you held an open house, and say you've time blocked 3 hours for it,
Mhm.
what would what would be your expectations? Somebody's probably done it a lot, or.
Okay. Who else? And we'll go over these as we go through the lesson.
What's the best way to get the word out?
Okay.
Public notice.
Market. Okay, who else?
I would like to review the 7 levels.
7-level open house?
Yeah, I can't remember how that goes. So I think that would be good.
All right.
And what about, we were talking about it, I'm not sure if it's cool or not. Can you do giveaways at an open house?
You get name, number, email, things like that.
No.
I
No,
don't think so.
ask your broker.
Okay,
That's
so-
gonna refer to your broker. There's a way to do it. Oh, shit. There's a. Sorry. Sorry.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm
All
good.
right.
It just got me. There's a way of doing it. I've never done it. Ask your broker
Okay.
is gonna be my advice. Yes.
So I have a lender that has been coming with me to open houses, and that is a game changer. Not only does he provide all of the snacks, which
Snacks,
never
yeah.
get eaten anyway, but for some reason, people eat what he brings.
Yeah.
But also they like to talk about the money, but he can sponsor the
Correct. So
giveaway.
there's ways of doing it. You as the agent cannot incentivize people.
Down here.
And you will see some agents that do it on social media. Just ask your broker before you do anything. We're not supposed to, so just ask them now, like she said, incentivize.
You're right.
Yeah,
But what
so,
she said was fine.
yeah, but what she
Yeah.
said was fine.
Yeah.
So you can announce like, oh, lender's going to be here.
Yeah.
And the lender is having these things,
Yeah.
you know?
Cool.
Yeah, and you as the agent, like, you can bring, like, I bring snacks to my open house sometimes.
Yeah.
I just don't incentivize people by saying, come eat my snacks.
Fill out
You
my
know.
form.
I make a video and the snacks just so happen to be there, but
Baking cookies, can you like actually use the oven and bake cookies to make it?
Smell
You
good.
would ask the owner, but yes, you
Yes.
probably could. I mean,
Yeah.
if they were already put together.
Mhm.
I don't know if they want you throwing flour all over the kitchen.
yeah, right, you go to the open house. All right, what other questions about open houses? One more.
No, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, you go.
I wanna know, A, how to prepare for them.
Mhm.
I'm thinking that's coming under best practices.
Yep.
And B, I know that the Facebook group is one way to find ones to do,
Mhm.
but it seems like you have to be the person that's on Facebook at the time it gets posted. So if there are other ways to find ones to do.
Yes, I'll answer this because it's really quick. Yes and no, you can post on there. If you go to the bigger teams like Grady or Holt Homes and you build that relationship with them and they know that you're reliable with open houses, they'll just give you open houses. Like they have a lot of listings, so you can, if you create that relationship with them, you can just email them. Like my first year, I would email them at the beginning of every week and I would just tell them, hey, I'm available for open houses. Please keep me in mind.
Oh,
And then
nice.
they would always send them to me. So it's just a matter of building, those relationships and just asking all the time. Last year or a year and a half ago, we were not seeing as many open houses and now we are seeing more. So take advantage of that. Yeah.
Because it's staying on the market a little bit. longer, I
Correct,
think,
yeah.
anyway.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Jeff?
Has your team specifically been productive or successful with canvassing an area that you're going to have an open house
Like
at?
farming it, you mean?
No, canvassing it, actually going door to door and
door.
saying, this is, I'm the one that's going to be representing the open house.
Yes.
Just
yeah.
wanted
So
to introduce,
I've door knocked a neighborhood before and people do come.
has it
That,
been successful?
Circle prospect.
oh, for sure,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
because neighbors want to see the house.
They
And,
might know someone who wants it, cause they wanna pick their neighbor, they don't want.
and I know, so what I've done, I don't do it right now when the weather's like this.
Right, right.
But what I do when it's like warmer out is I'll print out a little flyer about my open house flyer.
Mhm.
And I'll go door knock the neighborhood and I'll just tell them like, hey, and I always take us like a few steps back from the door. Cause you don't wanna intrude on their space either. So I
Mhm.
knock on the door and then I take a couple steps back to where there's like, distance between us. And I tell them like, hey, I don't mean to bug you. I'm a real estate agent and I'm gonna be hosting the open house at 122 Main Street. I just wanna let you know in case you see a lot of cars around. If you wanna check it out, here's a flyer. If you know of someone that might be interested in being your neighbor, bring them along, just make it very conversational. For the most part, they just wanna know.
Do you do
What if-
that in every open house?
I try to, yeah, if it allows. What was that?
Because
What was that?
I have problems with rural open houses.
Yeah,
You can't really door knock rural.
Right, right.
Especially if they're
yeah.
5 and 10 acres apart.
You could call.
Yeah.
You could call. You could do, mail out is hard because it takes longer to get there. But I, in that sense, I'd say probably phone call would be the best practice. Yeah.
How
Have to
far
be a-
ahead of time do you do that?
The what? The calling?
The door knocking?
I do it at least a day before or two before the open house. Mhm.
You have to be an agent to canvass an area for an open house.
If you talk about price, perhaps.
Yes, not necessarily. Not necessarily, but you can't talk real estate.
Just, hey,
So, yeah, so that's where it gets a little bit tricky because if they start asking questions, then you need to watch that line. But if you have a printout, then you can just tell them like, hey, I'm just here, to invite you to the open house. Here's some information and
Why can't you talk real estate?
you
If you're
can't
not
talk,
licensed.
you're not licensed, so you can't talk like, is there an HOA? Is there like, because you're portraying yourself as an expert, as the real estate agent, and you are not allowed to.
But if you are an agent.
But if you are agent, yes.
Oh, yeah.
What we're saying is if you're not licensed,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like if you hire somebody to go door knock.
Correct.
Yes, yes, right.
So I'm still doing my testing, so I'm not real familiar with a lot of the things. So if you go show a house for Grady's, like how, and I sell, like, that's, I don't know,
if you do an open house for Grady and then you bring a buyer.
Yes.
So if you're hosting an open house for the other agent, it's with the assumption that you are keeping the buyer commission. You're there pursuing the buyer. You're not there to take the listing. You're there to get a buyer or get a listing from someone that comes in.
So they're still
the
this.
house. They're still the listing agent. You can just say like, hey, I'm part of the brokerage and I'm here, or you can just say I'm the host they don't know that there's teams and that there's like all of these things. So normally I don't get into that. I just say, hey, I'm your host for today. My name's Maria. If you have any questions, make conversation with them. But you're there to get your face and your name out there, 1, 2, get people in the door because the people that are coming in the door might not have an agent. So you're there, yes, to showcase the house and maybe sell it, but it's more so to get leads out of it. So it's a lead generation tool.
Yeah, so people that come in that decide they're not interested in the house, you can help them find other houses.
Okay.
Yeah, and we'll go.
Decide to buy,
Yeah.
do I get
Yes.
that commission or do I
Yes.
split it with Grady's?
No. No,
Well,
so
you get
then
the buyer
you're,
side.
you're the buyer side, so they would pay the buyer agent's commission.
Okay.
Yeah. Good question though. Oh, what happened to my? Okay. Who would like to read the quote on the board for me?
Nothing else about your business will have as big an impact on it as the number of leads that you have. Gary Keller, the Millionaire Real Estate Agent.
Why do you think we began this session with this quote?
Open houses are a way to generate leads.
Leads are king.
Yep. The number one job is to gain leads, and this is one way to impact the number of leads that you have. And why do we hold open houses? What is the purpose or the goal of open houses? Which one? What's the other
What did she
one?
say?
To get leads and,
Mhm,
To sell
lead
the house.
generation.
correct.
Yeah.
So as a new agent, open
get
houses, yeah, so as a new agent, open houses are an easy, fun, and low-cost way to find buyers. Your goal in holding an open house is not only to sell the home, it is to put yourself in the path of opportunity and the business opportunity to meet people, add to your database, and set appointments, especially with interested buyers. So you literally wrapped up our question over here for that, which I love it. So for many agents, holding open houses is their number one strategy to build a strong business, and it can be yours too. Follow a proven model and buyers and sellers come to you. Other visitors may not be actively looking to buy or sell, but nevertheless, a memorable and favorable impression can generate referrals now and business farther down the road. Now, since we're talking about open houses today, it's important to know this before engaging in in-person activities, consult your jurisdiction's rules regarding COVID precautions. They have this on here. Contact your local realtor association for best practices. Now, I've shared that when my husband and I moved here, I had no sphere. So I generated my first year of business was strictly from leads. I would hold an open house Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and I would hold multiple open houses on that day. So that was at the time I didn't have a little baby. I wasn't a mom of a toddler and I didn't have all the other things that I'm doing. So I had all the time in the world to lead generate. So if this is something that for you like being in front of people, maybe don't like the cold approach of phone calls. Open houses are easy because people are already coming to you. There's a reason why they're there, whether it's because they're going to buy, they're going to sell, maybe they're a renter, maybe they've been thinking about buying or selling and they've just never done it. Maybe they're from out of state. So there's a lot of reasons why people come into those open houses, and you just have to make an impression on them. And an open house is a great place for you to do that, because that way they can see like, oh, if someone's coming to your open house and they are thinking about listing their house, they're probably, maybe if they don't have an agent, going to open houses to see what that agent is doing at the open house. Are they dressed appropriately? Do they have snacks? Do they have water? Is the house clean? Do they have a candle lit or some music going? Do they have a signing sheet? Do they know the details about the property. So it's also a way for you to almost let people interview you without interviewing you necessarily. Now, we always begin with checking in with our mindset. And in day one, you were introduced to the 6 personal perspectives, specifically remove your limiting beliefs. However, you may be having some limiting beliefs about open houses, and let's dispel them. So, what are some of the limiting beliefs that we see here? Who wants to read them?
I don't have a listing to hold open. I don't have signs yet. That would be me. I may not know the answers to questions visitors have. Open houses don't really work because most people look online and I won't feel safe. That's a partial concern for me.
What are some other?
Yeah.
What are some other limiting beliefs that you might have that are not on here?
I think mine is from past experience. But then I kill the limiting belief with the fact that I don't feel like I really did the open house well. On the pre-work to set up the open house.
So you're
I've
second
had
guessing your preparation.
Yes, I've done open houses. I didn't really get the result I wanted, but it comes back to me. I don't think I did the preparation 2 or 3 days ahead of time, to get things going.
Mhm.
So that's how I killed that belief, but that's a belief,
Okay,
or was a belief.
so I'm not prepared enough,
Yeah.
or maybe I don't know enough. Did you
Well,
say that?
no, I think.
Just the preparation
The
piece.
limiting belief would be that in past experience, open houses did not work, but I'm killing that with the fact that I don't feel like I was prepared.
Okay.
So there you
Yeah.
go.
Don't really work. Yeah, okay. I got you now. Okay.
Good. I didn't know. Maybe I was.
Who else? Anyone else have another limiting belief they'd like to share?
No one's gonna come anyway.
They won't like me.
Like, they don't like the house.
They'll have an agent.
You always.
Sometimes they do, but I use a survey and that gets their, like, most people are not gonna sign a sign out sheet, like to give you their information, but if you do, like, I did a survey for them. And then they seem like willing to put their contact information on it. That's a nice, it's better than just a sign up sheet. They don't wanna
Yeah.
sign that.
Yeah,
Do
and
you
we'll
have
talk, and we'll
a
talk,
copy of that?
and we'll talk about those strategies
Give you
too,
mine.
as we
Thank
go through the class. Now, we'll go over some of these limiting beliefs. So whenever someone tells me, I don't have a listing to hold an open house. Well, Ratty sure does, Dan sure does,
Mhm.
the A group sure does. There's so many groups in the brokerage that have open houses, so don't ever say that.
Mhm.
Ask those agents permission to hold their open houses, just like I was saying, just ask them for permission. Most likely, they're more than willing to. They post them on the page all the time. I don't have signs yet. You can ask your market center, or you can ask on the internal Facebook page. Does anyone have any extra open houses they are not using, or that I can borrow, or that I can buy off of you? Most likely they're not. Someone will be willing to let you borrow some. I may not know the answers to questions visitors have. So how do you think we prepared to have the answers that the visitors will have?
Well, research the house.
So preparation in advance.
And then also you can tell the visitor, I can't answer that question right now, but if you give me a way to get back in touch with you, like your phone number or email,
Or both.
I'll send you the information.
And we'll discuss,
You can talk to the listing agent, and if the client has given permission to share their motivation.
Yeah.
Anything you can do to humanize,
Mhm.
make the seller a real person
Yep.
with their own challenges.
Mhm.
And then the potential buyer feels better about doing business with them, and it will go a long way in negotiating
Mhm.
if you humanize the seller. So as much as you can get from the listing agent, I have found to be really important on an open house.
Yes.
Read the description and read the agent remarks.
Yes. And we'll cover more of that on the preparation section of things, but yeah, just preparing.
Just
is,
preparing.
just preparing is really how
Fact
you.
finding.
Yeah. Open houses don't work because people look online. Yeah, people look online. But you also wanna look in person.
Yeah.
You know, people are gonna be curious about that property.
Yeah.
They're gonna wanna see if the bedroom is really that big.
Yeah.
They're gonna wanna see if the blue is really that light blue or if it's just a darker blue.
Yeah.
They're gonna wanna see if the house is really that bright or not, or if it's just a picture of how they did it. So people are still gonna wanna go through, and this also gives people the opportunity to ask questions about the property without the pressure of, oh, if I call an agent, they're just gonna push me to like do this, you know? You have the information there for them. You give them the information. If they don't wanna work with you, they just tell you, I don't wanna work with you. Just give me the information. I won't be safe. Now, this we take very serious in our brokerage, and we always tell our agents that if you ever feel suspicious about anyone, to let us know and we will be there. We've had instances where an agent has posted it on our internal page and they say, hey, I'm supposed to meet this people at this time at this address. I'm still outside and 5 men got out of the car. Can someone come? There was like 3 agents there in 5 minutes. So just don't be, you know, if you're in a situation like that, don't be scared to call someone and ask for help. You could also buddy up. So if you don't feel comfortable, or if you feel like maybe the area's unsafe or whatever your concern might be, you can buddy with another agent. If there's a newer agent, maybe that's like, hey, I want to shadow, can I come with you? That's a great opportunity for you to have someone to come with you, and for the other agent to learn as well. And let people know where you're at all times, so that.
Always bring
you-
a gun.
I
There's-
love it.
what do I do?
There's that too, you can do that as well. So just do all that and always make sure that you, never put yourself in a position where you can't exit the room. Always park your car outside of the driveway and not in the driveway, for easy exiting of the property if needed.
There's also an app that if you're a member of GSBOR that they provide that you can download for free that will let you notify certain contacts where you're going. And if your contact doesn't hear back from you from a specified amount of time, they know to reach out and contact you. So that's a resource.
GSBR, is that the command app?
No, that's Greater Springfield Board of Realtors. So if you're a member of the Springfield Board of Realtors, that's available to you for free.
Yeah, so there's definitely a lot of resources and tools that we have available. But just always make sure, you can never be too safe. If your gut is telling you that you have a bad feeling about someone, just listen to your gut and double check, triple check. I always ask my clients, or people whenever they call me to show them a house, if I haven't gotten a chance to meet them at the office or anywhere else in public, I ask for their driver's license. And I say that if that's just procedure for our office for safety concerns or safety precautions. Normally, it's not a problem. If anyone gives you an issue with that, then bring someone or don't go. That's gonna be more of a personal thing of, okay,
I
this
watch too much Dateline. I just.
right?
Yeah, too much Dateline, I just,
Right.
not gonna have it.
All right, refer to your participant guide. So should every house be held open? Under what circumstances would you not recommend holding an open house?
A hoarder home.
If the home's not safe.
If the home's not safe?
Say that again? What'd you say?
If the seller's like a hoarder
Mm.
and it's unsafe and the house is a wreck, yeah, you're probably not gonna be able to be inside for that long anyway,
Yeah.
Yeah, who else?
I suppose that might be a motivator to the seller then. Hey, if you're the listing agent, I'd love to hold an open house, but I can't do that with the condition the house is in. But as soon as you get it cleaned up, I mean, obviously you would word this better. I'm still
Yeah.
practicing my conversations.
Yeah, no, that's good. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Yeah, and then there's gonna be times where the seller might not wanna do that.
Yeah.
And they'll just be like, I wanna sell it with everything in there.
As
I've
it-
had that. I wanna sell it with everything in there. The next person can deal with it. So you have both. Okay, what other reason would you not hold an open house?
if they weren't comfortable with it.
if they weren't comfortable with it,
And
yeah.
a lot of sellers aren't because they've watched too much Dateline. And they're afraid somebody's coming to case their stuff and possibly come back and steal something, so. Are you gonna talk about that as far as the advice to give a seller in putting up their valuable stuff
Oh,
for an open house?
yes, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and those are, those, yes, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
It's in here. Okay,
Yep.
okay.
And just when it's not necessary to show. So whenever the market was really hot, 2020, 2021, when houses were going under contract really quick, you were not seeing a lot of open houses then. Which for a lot of new agents was hard because lead generation, if you
Mhm.
don't have a sphere or don't want to pick up the phone call, you didn't have open houses. So
Mhm.
that's why it's important that you, with the market shifting, your lead generation sometimes has to shift as well.
Mhm.
Back to the signs, how many signs do you normally have and like with the perimeters?
So it's gonna depend on the area. When I drive, I usually try to do like the main road that leads to wherever the property is. I usually put one there. And then the next road that will lead to the property and wherever the property is. I put some on like both sides, so from the entrance on both sides of the road. And then just as many directionals as you can. That usually helps for even the neighbors, because they're like, oh, there's an open house going on, and then they see the open house signs and a lot of people, if you put them on the main street, like if it's a busy road. And you put them on there, people will drive by just to check out what's going on. So open houses start at 2, normally, typically. I try to get to my open house by noon. Just to give me enough time to set up, put up the signs. I don't wanna be rushed, like I don't wanna get to the open house and be out of breath when people are waiting outside the door. So open houses it's a prep time, and once you have the systems and everything in place, it's really easy to grab and go. But still, even the day of the open house, you still should be showing up at least at the bare minimum 30 minutes before your open house begins.
On Amazon, you can buy balloons that say open house in any color that you want, and then I just helium fill them and I hang them on like the mailbox or my sign. I punched a hole in those corrugated signs and then I just tie my ribbon through there, and that really gets a lot of attention.
Mhm.
Where do you can't put the signs on other people's property though, so then where do you put them?
The telephone pole at the corner.
The stop
Stop sign.
sign
On the public.
on the public road, like on the sidewalk.
Yeah.
Normally you wouldn't have to put it on the neighbor's
Okay.
property, just because it's gonna be like, when you're entering the neighborhood, it's normally gonna be wherever that main road
Right,
is.
okay.
When you're going to the stop sign, I usually put it where the stop sign is.
Okay.
Now, if I see a neighbor and they're out there, and you sometimes have neighbors that get pissed, even if you put it by the stop sign, I normally tell them like, hey, I'll be taking this as soon as my open house is done. They're normally fine with it, but
Do you place the signs a day or two ahead of time?
yes, you
Okay.
should be putting them at least a day or two behind, a day or two beforehand. What I've done is that I got Velcro strips, and I laminated Sunday 2 to 4, and I just put it on there. And then if I host a Saturday one, I have a Saturday one too. So then you can just remove it instead of like putting Sharpie or, whatever that might be. It just makes it easier.
Hey Maria, I wanna say something about the signs also. Hi
Yeah.
guys, Liliana.
Hi. I was like, oh.
I've been watching you. Hey, it is a good idea to ask permission if you're gonna post the sign in somebody's home, in the lawn. And that's another, way to also lead generate, hey, I'm Liliana, when I'm hosting an open house, I hope you can see it. Come and see it, and just wanted to know if it's okay if I can put this sign. Everybody's really nice.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, they're normally
But-
really nice.
Yeah, I have my own open signs with my phone number, and I had one guy called me really mad, and he cussed me out horribly because I put the sign in his yard without
Yeah.
asking
Yeah,
permission.
so if you're not putting it on an open road that's for the public, by all means, you should definitely be asking.
Yeah.
But if it's a sidewalk that's public, you do not need permission for people for
Right.
that. And for the most part, they're not gonna be mad about it.
Which where I put the sign is the cities, because you know, the city has the easement.
Yeah.
But the guy was an
Yeah.
a-hole anyway, so
Yeah.
that's what I have to say, be careful.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Seems like that'd be a good conversation starter too, though.
Oh, for
is.
sure.
Showing that
Yeah.
respect.
Exactly, yeah, and that's what Liliana was saying, like, if you are putting it on in someone's yard, you should definitely be asking, and that starts the conversation of, hey, you should come over to the open house and
Yeah,
check it out.
yeah. And most men that mow, and there's a lot of men that mow and don't, and probably women too. I don't want to be sexist, but I've run into more men that were really particular about
Yeah.
the lawn.
Yeah.
And even though it's within the radius of public property from a street sign or a stop sign, that's public property, not according to him. He mows that and he manicures it right along with his yard. And so what'll happen if you don't ask for permission, your sign will disappear. When you get there an hour before your open house and you position that sign on Wednesday, it won't be there when you get there.
Yeah.
So if you don't ask permission, that happens quite often.
Yeah,
Courtesy.
So-
and open house signs disappear all the time too, like, that is just gonna be part of the.
That's
You
why I
can
got
pick them up to
mine.
do a garage.
I got yours.
That's right, yeah, they're gonna disappear all the time. You'll see it on the internal page where
That's
you just be
right.
like, my open house signs have disappeared, or whatever it might be. It does happen. They
Yeah,
get
so try to detour as much as possible.
Yeah, trying not
With
to,
permission.
yeah, with permission, yeah, for sure. Awesome. Well, like I said, we're capturing leads with open houses, so refer to your participant guide. Did it switch? Okay, I was like, it didn't switch. Now, we know that the two main goals for open houses are to sell houses and to generate leads. Who does the open house benefit? Who wants to read?
Open house what?
Who does the open house benefit?
Sellers,
Sellers, to show the house to a lot of
Buyers.
potential buyers, yeah.
neighbors,
Neighbors, yeah.
Mhm.
me, the agent.
You, the agent, yeah. So for the agent, it helps you capture leads for potential buyers and sellers. It helps you connect with the neighborhood prior to the event.
Mhm.
It helps you place signs with your name throughout the neighborhood if you have, branded open house signs. I was like, what's the word? And it helps you practice conversations and how to answer questions and provide value.
Mhm.
How does it help the neighbors?
Huh?
How does it help the neighbors?
It helps the neighbors because it helps them know who's gonna be moving into the neighborhood, why they're selling the house, how the property looks like. It helps them know what the value of their property might look like.
Give them a power, like, hey, I know you know somebody that wants to live next to you, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
sometimes, you have families that are like, oh my gosh, my daughter is looking to buy and this house down the street from mine would be perfect.
Perfect.
Yeah.
They finally get to look inside.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. They get to look at the condition. So they get to see like, oh, my house is upgraded more than this one and they're selling it for this much. It gets them thinking about the equity that they have on their property.
Mhm.
Now, how do open houses allow for both prospecting base and marketing enhanced lead generation?
Well, marketing would be how you present yourself, how you present the open house, the signage you use, the
Mhm.
material inside the house, like if you have a lender or information about
Yeah.
yourself.
Your social media marketing as well? What about your prospecting?
Conversations with the people that come through.
Yeah, lead generation.
Lead generation?
We've already talked about
You
it.
can make phone calls?
Yeah.
If it's a neighborhood that you wanna work, like I've got a neighborhood that I want to take over. You get to know the people, knock on the doors,
Yeah,
Yeah.
you get to let them know you, you get to know them and.
it
you're
helps
right
you
there on your
become the
bicycle.
expert in that area.
Yeah.
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 Now, what do you think are some benefits of open houses? inexpensive prospecting tool. There's a high return on investment because you're spending no money other than gas, maybe, you know?
If you do it on a Sunday,
Because
it gives you a way to get away from everybody and watch the game.
Right? Qualified leads. But even then, even if you're spending money on signs, even if you're spending money on gas, all you need is one transaction.
Right.
does it reduce the time it's on the market? I mean,
Could.
have they done
It
studies to?
Could.
It could, yeah, it could because you're exposing it to more people. Yeah.
Have they kept stats on that?
If you make a house really difficult to show, people are not gonna wanna view it. That's just how it is. If you make a house so difficult to show, people are just not gonna, when you make it so hard to show that it's almost nearly like impossible,
What do you mean by
It's gonna-
so hard to show?
when they have like
Rules.
so many rules that you can't access, because people work, people have schedules and kids
Okay,
and
okay, I
family and all
follow
that,
you.
that's
I
what
was
I'm,
thinking about, yes, I
Well,
got on board. I'm
sometimes
there.
the sellers will be like, you can only show on the weekend.
I got
You
it
can
now,
only
yeah.
show
Yeah.
after 5
Yeah.
on.
yeah.
And
So
that
one
is
of-
just hard.
Yeah, so one of the primary benefits of open houses is that they're relatively inexpensive to host. So especially as a newer agent, where you're like, I don't wanna be spending money on leads. Open houses are free. Now, while they don't cost much, they require time investment. So open houses are also very useful prospecting tool for lead generation. And yet you still have to prepare for it, and that's where your time investment comes in. So how would you prepare beforehand for an open house?
Turn on the lights.
Turn on the lights.
Open the blinds.
The
Good
blinds.
Nice light.
If they have animals in the house, I usually take a little bit of vanilla and pour it on a cookie sheet and then just let the oven warm it up because it smells like cookies.
Mhm.
Good idea.
So we don't actually have to bake the cookies, we can just make it smell like it.
Exactly.
Homemade bread.
Just don't forget and leave it in there.
Right. Right.
So now, when you prepare for an open house and you're setting yourself up for success, because you're going to host an open house where people are most likely going to be qualified leads. Most people that are coming are already looking or are thinking of looking, and even if they haven't spoken to a lender, they're probably pretty close to being able to buy, whether it's 6 months from now or 3 months from now, they're still out there in the market for that. Now, because the main thing you invest when preparing an open house is time, the ROI can be huge. You can generate leads, qualify leads, and even potentially close a deal. There is such a thing where you can host an open house and someone loves it so much, don't have an agent. I mean, everyone's dream, right? Every agent's dream is
Right.
hosting an open house, don't have an agent, they're ready to buy, they wanna make an offer, and you get that house under contract. That can happen. That can happen. Now, is it gonna happen every Sunday? Probably not. Don't bet your money on that. But that's not to say that it can't happen,
Right.
or that one person that came in through there is not going to convert into a transaction at one point. So track your leads, track where your leads come from. Now, what type of leads are you most likely to get from open houses?
You would probably get buyer leads more than seller leads, but you would get both.
Yeah,
So,
you're most likely going to be buyer heavy when it comes to open houses. But yes, you can get listing leads from it as well. Now, what are some ahas or questions?
I like the aha about the vanilla on the cookie sheet. That was cool.
Yeah,
That's good.
or on the microwave, you can put some vanilla in the microwave too.
Probably need to have cookies available,
Yeah.
which I always do.
Brownies.
Cookies,
You need
cookies
something
and
to
a
snack on
drink,
while you're
you
waiting
know.
anyway.
Of course, they won't be.
Sometimes I eat half the cookies.
I like that idea.
Other ahas,
That's good.
questions?
It sounds like a I feel like as a new agent, I feel like that sounds like a much more easier way to get leads. Just like,
Yeah.
hosting, I love to host, so that,
Yeah,
But it has to be
somebody
done.
else's house.
Yeah, it is good, but it has to be done properly. I mean, you can also, if you don't do it right,
yeah.
like if you say we're gonna have an open house today and 10 minutes before you open, you go out and put signs and
Yeah.
you don't
Oh, yeah.
knock on
Yeah.
people's doors. I
Yeah,
mean,
so knowing that we need to prepare.
Oh,
and
yeah,
everything, that's-
definitely,
that's
yeah.
all
If you
good.
do it at a high level, it's a great way to lead generate, and it's definitely possible. That's why there's not a lack of business. There are, where people, I don't have any business. Well, just check the hot sheet and see how many agents have a listing live. They're getting business. So the business coming from somewhere. It's just a matter of having the consistency and staying on it. You can host one open house and then say, I got 0 leads from that. I'm never doing it again. Yeah, you're never gonna get a lead ever again. But if you continue to do the open houses every weekend, you're bound to get a lead off of that.
I also do on Flex, you can do reverse prospecting. So somehow, if you like put in the house you're doing, it knows agents who have had people looking at a similar house, and you can invite them.
If they have them
personally.
on a saved search,
Right, if they
yeah.
have them on a saved search, and you can invite them personally.
Mhm,
So that has helped a few times too.
mhm.
I was gonna say, this last weekend, I went to 10 open houses,
Mhm.
and that was great. I got to see the whole gamut. I got to see really great ones. I got to see ones where I'm like, I ain't buying a $500,000 house from you, you know what I mean? And other ones I was really impressed with.
Yeah.
So it was a great learning experience.
And then that's also a great way of, seeing what other agents are doing is you just going to an open house and just walking around and seeing how they host and what they do. It's a great way, again, for buyers and sellers to see how you conduct business. So always think of it that way. Okay, how am I gonna show up today? How am I gonna show up to my open house today? And how do I wanna show up for my clients?
Good.
Anyone else?
I never thought about putting my signs out several days early.
Hmm.
So
Oh,
At least a day or two, I would say. Mhm.
Is the 7-level open house plan, is that in the red book? Is it? I think it is somewhere.
See, I'm
I think
pretty
it
sure,
is.
I have a copy of it, I'm in my computer, like just a doc of it in my computer. But we can also ask Shanna to send it with the notes today. Okay, so we've covered why open houses are beneficial, and now we're gonna cover what the best practices are to put in place so that we can solidify your effort. Remember the 6 personal perspectives, especially E to P. Who remembers what E to P is?
Entrepreneurial to purposeful.
With everything we do, it's essential to be purposeful in our mindset and our actions. Before your open house, set concrete and achievable goals. For example, tell yourself your goal is to add 6 people to your database.
How do you control that?
Setting attainable goals and difficult goals will help you maximize the participants' return on investment. So just make sure that when you go into the open house, you're not just going with the mindset of, I'm gonna show up and I hope that I get someone and that I hope that they'll fill up my paperwork. Don't just sit to be a warm body in the room.
Okay.
Make sure that whenever they walk into and you can do it differently. Everyone has a different approach to open houses. I switch it up depending on how I'm feeling that day, if I wanna talk a lot or if I don't wanna talk a lot. But if you have someone in the open house, especially if you have like snacks and stuff, I usually put the surveys next to the snacks. And I let them grab a snack and then I say, hey, if you wouldn't mind filling this up as you're walking through the house and fill out your information for safety concerns, my seller would like to know who's coming in and out of the property.
Safety concerns.
And then it's not about you getting their information. They wanna know who's stepping into their property. Sometimes they'll fill it up, sometimes they won't. Sometimes they'll put like bad numbers and bad emails. But it's an easy way for you to say, my seller, it's not about me. My seller would like, and the way my signing sheet looks, it says, where did you hear about the open house? What do you think about these categories of the house? Curb appeal, whatever, I can't remember. And then, are you looking to buy or sell? Do you rent or own? What's your timeline? Are you working with a realtor? And at the very bottom, then I have their information, because they've already been writing. It's harder for them to stop when they've already started.
Grab my arm, I can't stop.
Now, what other goals could be useful to set yourself before you host an open house?
Pick the right house.
Mm-hmm, yeah. Check days on market.
Check what?
Days on market.
Oh,
Mhm.
that's a goal?
If it's a new build, you know, they stay on the market longer. If it's been on the market for 160 something days with no price, it's not a new build, no, little to no price reductions. House is in great condition, great location, maybe it's the price. Just keep thought of that, because sometimes if it's priced out of the market, people will not come. Sorry?
Gotcha, that makes sense, okay.
Yeah. But new builds, they stay in the market longer because they put it on the market from before it's even up sometimes.
I think you should also, I mean, probably obvious, but you should walk through the house prior to the open house, know the house, learn the house.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, generally, I mean,
I've never thought of it, but yeah, that's a good
yes.
idea, yeah.
If it's a different house
Mhm.
or a unique house.
Yeah, yeah, it's a good idea.
Yeah, one of the first things that people ask is, how old is the HVAC system?
Mhm.
How old is the roof? Why are the people selling? It's good to have all the information that you possibly can that's not even in the listing. What are the taxes?
Mhm.
Depends on if you're gonna give them a sheet that's already got that on it. You might just be able to point it out to them.
Mhm.
So information,
I used to print out the MLS sheet. Now I just print out a copy for myself.
right?
I no longer do that because it gives me the opportunity to ask for their information and tell them, hey, I can email it to you right now from my MLS, or I can text it to you, whatever's easiest. And then you just have their information.
I think that's a good idea.
Because if you give them everything, if you give them all of the information, they're not gonna have a reason to reach out to you.
Right.
So you gotta leave some mystery in there for them to be like, oh, dang, now I have to call that agent about this, you know?
Yeah.
Now, picking the house is a crucial step in the open house process. It's important to look for great and visible location, preferably not more than 3 turns from a major road. Once you've chosen a house, you should get familiar with the neighborhood. And as you prepare for the open house, you should get to know the closest shopping centers, grocery stores, architecture, and coffee shops. Remember, when you're choosing your house, you don't always have to pick the most expensive house on the market or the least expensive. Consider what the average price houses are selling for in your market and adjust your choice of house based on this. Now, if you are wanting to, you know, like increase your personal average sales price, you might want to look at, okay, I want to stay hosting open houses in this average sales price. Or if you want to do, if you want to farm a certain area, oh, I'm really going to keep an eye out for houses that are for sale from our brokerage in this area, so I can host an open house there as well. Now, if the goal of an open house is to generate and qualify leads, what other things should we think about before we pick the home for the open house?
High traffic.
High traffic. School district. School district.
Come on, David.
Oh, sorry.
If the goal of an open house is to generate and qualify leads, what other things should we think about before we pick the home for the open house?
The price range that we want to be in. I mean, you know, if you want to do a certain amount of GIC that year and you need 53 closings to do it, then you don't want to try to do it all with $50,000 houses.
Now, before you host your open house, prepare a list of questions you may be asked and practice your conversation starters. Some questions you might face will test your knowledge of the house and your market. Potential clients might ask you why the house is for sale, when the home was last renovated, if the home has any structural issues, and how long the house has been on the market. What other questions might visitors have at an open house?
Well, like he said, age of the roof, HVAC,
Does it have central air?
what school district, like she said, taxes.
What are the neighbors like?
HOA?
Have you had good neighbors? That'll always be asked.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
They
one.
may wanna know who built it, the builder.
Yep, sometimes. Yeah. They wanna know about the HOA. Wanna know if there's any restrictions or covenants that they need to deal with. And that's an opportunity to get their email. Let me send you a copy of those.
Now, this is where having a partner like a lender or an inspector is a great way to have those conversations too, because if they have questions about, if it's someone that is maybe thinking about buying and they've never met with an agent and they've never met with a lender, they have those two people there. And then most of the questions that people have and hesitations that they have are finances. So if they have someone that can be right there to address their questions, and then you can just, do your thing, the real estate thing, then it makes it so much easier to have those conversations with people when they come in. Takes the pressure off a little bit. During an open house, have the visitors sign in upon arrival at the event. Some agents even make this a requirement, stating it is a safety measure. You can even ask them to leave something of value with you while they tour the home, like their car keys or driver's license. Again, this is a safety measure. Explain to the participants that setting up a sign-in station allows them to capture leads they can follow up on later. Once you've captured their contact information, you'll have plenty of opportunities to wow them with your technology and expertise after the event. If you do not use a sign-in sheet, what are other ways you can capture the contact information of leads that come through your open house?
Say that again.
If you do not use a sign-in sheet, what are other ways you can capture the contact information of leads that come through your open house?
Sharing the app with them or just talking.
Way to
Asking,
go.
talk and just ask questions.
So when you share the app with people, they obviously get your information. Do
Yeah.
you get their information back?
Yeah, so if
Okay.
they download your app, you'll get a notification on command, and it'll tell you lead captured, and it'll show you their name, and then when you open command, it'll show you if they put their email and phone number. Sometimes they'll put dummies, like bad ones on there, and you just have to double check it. And then sometimes it's spam, like I'll see on our internal page, like, I got a lead from a whatever name, and then I'm like, oh, I got the same lead, but it was just a spam. So you just gotta, again, qualify your leads.
Does the app have a QR code?
Yes.
Does it? Yeah.
Yeah.
You just pull up the QR code and they can scan it.
They
with
just
their
scan it
phone.
with their camera, your information goes to them, and then an opportunity for them to put in their information back to you.
Oh, that's fine.
And it even stores it in your contacts if you want it to. It's a click. So,
Lots of ways to capture people's information and ask for it multiple times.
I like what you said, not having the listing page
The MLS sheet.
there, because then no matter what the question is, if they want a copy of the disclosures,
Mhm.
if they want to know, I mean, maybe kind of within reason how old the HVAC system is, but if they ask, let me find out for sure,
Mhm.
and let me send it to your email, or let me text it to you.
Mhm.
That's just another opportunity to get information. Every question they ask you is an opportunity
Mhm.
to let me get that information for you and text it to you.
And you should also be prepared with that script, meaning they might ask you a question that you know the answer to. You can say, hey, I'm not really sure, but I'll get it back to you. So throw that in there somewhere. If they're not doing a shine in a sheet, then
Exactly.
prepare yourself for some kind of a way to.
Caption.
And I can tell you, a lot of them won't do the sign-in sheet,
Yeah.
even if you tell them it's a safety measure. Unless you're like some of the agents I know and you meet them at the front door and don't give them a choice. But I think that's awfully restrictive. And I think some,
Yeah, I mean, I
I've
think,
seen people turn and
yeah, I mean, I think, yes,
get
it
off on
can.
the wrong foot.
I think it is, yes, and then at the same time, we're professionals and we're here to do a job.
Yeah.
And so if someone is refusing to do something as simple as that, then do you really want them to be your client?
Well, it's not that cut and dry.
Not always.
Not in my experience.
Yeah, not always, but at the same time, again, like, I'm never gonna force someone to sign in.
Correct.
And also, I am the type of person that is at the door and
Yeah.
I have like my clipboards.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
tell them like, hey, fill this out. Are they gonna fill it up? Maybe, maybe not.
Right,
And at the same time,
yeah.
it's our job to set the standard of like, hey, this is the standard of,
Absolutely.
and it shows that you care for your client's property as well.
You get a t-shirt that says security on the front.
Just show up as a bounty with like black glasses. Like.
So I agree with all these like tactics and ways to get people's information, I mean, and strategies, that's all good. But like, for me, I would think about using the direct approach, someone starts shuffling towards the door in your conversation, you say, hey, before you go,
Yeah,
I know you're here looking for a house and I'm a real estate agent, that's my job is to
Yeah.
sell houses. Could I get your information? And I know I'd love the opportunity to earn your business.
Mhm.
I know there's
Yeah.
tons of real estate agents, you may even have a family member.
Mhm.
And if you give me your information though, and you buy from someone else, I'll send you a congratulations card, but just the opportunity to, just kind of that
Yeah,
kind of
and that's
approach.
the beauty of real estate is that we can all approach things
Yeah.
differently.
Yeah,
If you like that approach and it works for you, then you do that. Like,
Yeah.
that is the beauty of
I'm just
real
throwing
estate.
that out there as.
No, yeah, and I
as-
love it, and I
That's
love it,
great.
because it is, like, for some people, it doesn't feel nice to be like, hey, sign this right
Right.
now, and for other people, they just wanna have a conversation and say like, hey, can I get your information? And that, again, is the beauty of what we do, is that our business and our approach does not have to be the
Yeah.
same, because we're different people and different
Yeah.
personalities. And there's no wrong way of doing it, like, if it works for you, then you do what works for you. But yeah, I like that, and it definitely does work sometimes, like, if I see
Yes.
someone that doesn't sign in,
yep.
and I see them leaving, I'll be like, hey, I would really love the opportunity to connect with you, and I didn't get a chance to get your contact information. Would you mind giving it
Yeah.
to me? And like, I can add you to my newsletter, whatever it might be.
No, we're just looking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When do they need
what I'm
to
asking. Yeah.
let us know that they're working with, under a buyer agency's agreement with another agent?
What do you do if they tell you that?
No, when is that required for them to, or when do we need to be asking that question?
I normally, when people are walking around, I'll make conversation with them, and I'll just be like, oh, how long have you been looking for a house? And they'll tell me, oh, just for a few months or whatever. Oh, awesome. Who's your real estate agent? Who are you working with?
Or are you working with another agent?
Mhm.
Or
I
an
normally
agent? Are you
ask,
working with
I
an
normally
agent?
ask what the name of their agent is,
It's kind of,
because that way, sometimes they might not be working with an agent. Are you working with an agent? Yeah,
Oh, but they're not really.
but they're not really.
You can
Judy Smith.
also pass that
Judy
You
on.
Smith.
can look it up.
Yeah,
She lives
I'll be
up.
like, oh, I've never heard of Judy. I'm sure she's a phenomenal agent, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
But it gives them the opportunity to think about it instead of saying, ask open-ended questions. So if you just say like, are you working with an agent? Yes. That's the end, unless you ask for another question.
Mhm.
What's the name of your agent? If they don't remember the name of their agent, then that's another problem. Like, you want to be top of mind.
so you recommend you get that in early in the.
Yeah, and then what
Just
I
sounds
also
like-
have done is that if I know that, a client of an agent came by my open house, I'll call the agent and I'll tell them, hey, I want you to know that so-and-so came by my open house and then mentioned that you were their agent, here's some feedback that they gave me about the property. So it helps you build relationships with other agents as well. When you, one, respect that relationship, and two, you let them know, because a lot of the times our clients will go out rogue and look at houses and love it or not love it, whatever it might be. And we might not know that as an agent, and receiving that information, then you know, like, oh my gosh, okay, I should probably call this person because they were out looking for houses and I didn't even know that they really liked this house. So that is also something that you could use to build those relationships with other agents as well.
It's good information to give back to the listing agent that lets you do the open house too, so that they know any feedback
Mhm.
and anything that they can follow up on. They'll follow up with that agent and find out what their client thought of the home, and then that's going to make the listing agent want to give you more open houses.
Yes.
Is it safe to put like a little framed something out that has the QR code and says why why a client wants to work with an agent or with myself for that matter?
Yeah, so I have a printout. I don't have my open house folder with me right now, but I have a printout that we do put a QR code to my Facebook page, Amy's Facebook page, Instagram, our Instagram, Google reviews, her Google, like all of our information on there. And people can QR code it if they want. You can bring whatever, you can make your open house be as awesome and fabulous and like super put together as you want, or you can make it super simple, you know? It's really up to how much stuff you want to put out. And we change it, like I change it every time. It's just gonna depend, but you can bring whatever stuff you'd like to have on there. Yeah. Now, pick the time. The time you choose for the open house is important. When you know your market well and you have connected with it, picking the right time to host the open house should be simple. Open houses have been known to work in any market at all dates and times, so know your market in order to drive the most traffic through your open houses. Picking the time for your open house goes hand in hand with picking a theme. If you're having an open house on a Sunday afternoon during the football season, know the game scores or have the game on the TV.
Love it.
The major theme of the Millionaire Real Estate Agent is to learn from the individuals that preceded you. What open house themes have succeeded for agents you know?
Theme? What do you mean by theme?
Like how they put the like the football game on?
So I think the best person at open houses I know is Jacqueline Thompson. She's on our team. She did this incredible open house for another person. And she's like served wine, and they had, like, she invited brokers, and one guy walked in, was interested in selling it, and was interested in buying it. He was so impressed that he hired her to sell his $800,000 house, and she did. So, I mean, like he was impressed with her thing, you know, but I think you also have to know if your homeowner is okay with you having alcohol in their house, or, you know, also people are in recovery. So that's, you know, another thing. You could have sparkling grape juice or something, I don't know. But
Yeah, and that's like yesterday I mentioned that in our Google form, we have on there, do you drink alcohol or not? Just so that we are aware of that as well, because like Sherry said, we don't want to put people's sobriety in jeopardy as well, or for religious purposes, you never know, right? Now what other themes could we do for an open house?
I think I might have heard this at some point. Thanks for popping in, and like have like a little mini like popcorn thing with
Popcorn.
like your business card.
Yeah. Could do Easter themed. Could do Halloween themed.
And that's
I
not
always
bribing.
print the
That'd be
detail.
great. As they're walking through the house, they open the door, so it jumps out.
Oh, that's not right, incentivizing. No, I mean, you can have a theme, you're just not, you can make your poster or whatever and do all the things. You're not advertising it as such of like, oh, come over to get a $25 gift card, you know, like, that's not what you're saying. You create one on Halloween and your flyer is Halloween themed. It's just a theme. You're not really incentivizing anything that way. You're not exchanging like a gift or services, yeah.
Have you ever done a drawing?
Mm-mm. No.
I think
I
if
have-
you told me that that would be incentivizing if I did that, cause
Yeah.
I ask.
Yeah.
I come from doing events and that is something that I.
Yeah, you can't do a drawing unless it's like the lender is doing the
Yeah, I've never
drawing.
done one. That's why I was asking if you had.
No, yeah,
I've never done a drawing because we were always, that was frowned on by my broker, but I didn't know if it was frowned on because of legality or if it's frowned on just because of,
I think it's legal.
preference.
it's legality. It's illegal to receive compensation for a real estate transaction if you're not a licensed real estate agent.
Can you get one of your friends to pull up his classic cars in front of the house?
Sure.
Oh, yeah, you could do that.
Or maybe a NASCAR?
Yeah.
Why not?
Get them in the house.
Yeah.
Why not?
So Saturdays do tend to conflict with kids' activities. So keep that in mind if you're hosting an open house on a Saturday. Now, if the Super Bowl is going on Sunday, you're not probably gonna get a lot of people coming through.
Is that
Um,
this Sunday?
No, the playoffs are this.
First
weekend.
Sunday, February,
Yeah.
I believe.
But it is a big game.
But you could do
When
it,
is it?
Two big games this Sunday.
And then the Super Bowl is 2 weeks
And
after
then
that.
2 weeks,
2 weeks,
yeah.
but just as an example, so you could, if you know the Super Bowl is happening, maybe don't have it on a Sunday, have it on a Saturday. That way people can go see it on a Saturday and not spend your Sunday at the open house.
Something else that I've done that has been successful for me, I was telling Richard. Most open houses are set between 2 and 4 on Sunday or 2 and 4 on
Yeah.
Saturday. And a lot of times I'll be at church with the family and then we have lunch with somebody. And it's really hard to get to an open house after lunch by 2 o'clock and you want to get there early, right? And so I've set my open houses at 3 to 5. And what I found was that all the rest of them pretty much are set at 2 to 4. So people that wanted to see 5 or 6 houses probably wouldn't have made it to mine, but because I'm open an hour later, I got some people after the other open houses were closed.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
doing it at different times sometimes, it's worked for me.
yeah, yeah. And the benefit in that is that you are doing it in between that window where the other open houses are happening. So
Yeah,
what
that's
are?
I'm saying.
Yeah, so what are the benefits of holding an open house at the same time as other open houses?
Maureen, may I say something?
Yeah.
I've tried everything. I've tried, Thursdays, Mondays, Wednesdays, in the morning, in the afternoon. But I think it depends on the house, the location of the house. If you have a house like downtown Springfield where near MSU and you know that the traffic at 5 o'clock is gonna be great, do a pop-up open house, and it's 5 o'clock. If the traffic is, everybody leaves at 5, do it from 5 to 7.
The happy hour.
They will stop in the
And there's-
open house.
Yeah, and there's
Another thing I found out is that I do it on Saturdays, and I had such a good response on Saturdays. I found that people that are truly shopping for homes,
yeah,
they do it on Saturdays. Sundays, you get a lot of lucky loose that they want to go and eat your cookies from your open house, and you see the same people in all the open houses. But Saturdays are, to me, people are really interested in buying a house.
yeah. And I think that right now with the football season, you also see a lot of people going out on Saturdays because
Yeah.
football's going on Sundays.
Right.
So that is also something that makes a huge difference and I've seen it, because I'll do open houses during football season and my Sunday open houses are so slow.
Yeah,
And then I'll do an open house on a Saturday and it won't be. And I'm like, oh, what brings you out today? I'm like, oh, well, tomorrow's football, which is really nice that it's happening today because football's happening tomorrow. So yeah, it definitely helps whenever you know, like, oh, people are not gonna be going out. If you know that that's how, especially in this area with the Chiefs and stuff, you know for a fact people are gonna be watching that game. Like, they're not gonna be looking for no houses. They're gonna be watching the Chiefs. So yeah, you can change it. And then again, there are benefits to hosting them at the same time as other open houses.
yeah.
So one of the things that it benefits is that it may attract other people that are looking for, looking at other open houses in the area as well. So people are already out and about. If they already have a reason to go out and see multiple houses, then it's easier for them to make another stop. Now, what are the benefits of an open house at a non-traditional time? You may attract clients that don't normally attend open houses because of their own scheduling conflicts. So that's not to say that because you do the traditional times, you can't do an untraditional time. I've done open houses where a listing goes live and then I have an open house that same day because I want to get people in as quick as possible. I want into that property. So it's not, one size fits all. For the most part, if you want consistency, like I have all of my Sundays blocked off from 2 to 4 for my open houses unless I'm traveling. And then if I want to do another one, then I do another one. Now that I have little kids, I want to spend my Saturdays with my kids. But before it was just Friday, Saturday, Sunday, open house 2 to 4, 1 to 3, all the hours that I could. And it works, so.
What's the best hours on Friday?
I usually did 5 to 7, because people can get off work at 4:30 and then that gives them time to get there at 5. But for people to get off from 5 to 5:30, it gives them enough time to get there 6 to 7.
Cool. So you still do open houses now? I mean, you still do them on Sundays? Is that-
Yeah, a lot of our agents in the office still do open houses. Top producing agents, Paulina Nabar does open houses all of the time. She's a top producing agent. Austin Picard does open houses all the time, Saturdays and Sundays as well. Liliana, she's done open houses all the time. And it works. It's an easy way to lead generate. If you do it well, it works. Now, if you've been practicing connecting with and knowing your market, then gathering the neighborhood stats for your open house will be fast. Some helpful things to know about the neighborhood before using the open house are local information provided by the school district, employment information, recreation nearby, so if there's any parks, a zoo, pool, a community pool, traffic and commute times. If you know there's a new road coming in or there's gonna be construction going in. What other things might people coming to open houses desire to know about the neighborhood?
Restaurants, shopping.
Yep. Churches, yeah,
Playgrounds,
playgrounds.
fire stations.
Yeah, sure.
Coffee shops.
I had someone ask me if there was a gun store nearby. Not because they wanted it close by, it was quite the opposite. They were like, we just don't wanna be close by a gun store. And I was like, okay,
Okay.
I don't know how to do that on the map. Let's just look at the maps. But yeah, anything else?
They want to know where the boundary is between commercial, residential.
Have you ever done an open house for sale by owner?
Yeah.
I haven't either.
But you can,
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, if they're up for it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I was just curious, because
Yeah, no, I've never done one.
it's a thought that came, but
And it's a good one if you
I've
get
never
them to
done it.
agree, yeah.
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 So then it wouldn't be a for sale by owner, right, at that point? If
so
they-
most of the for sale by owners, like on Zillow, they're willing to work with an agent that brings a buyer and pay most of them 3%. Or negotiate another fee.
That's
But
good to know.
anyway, they're willing to work with a buyer, buyer's agent. I've never went that step further and said, I don't have a buyer right now. I've got several buyers, But would you be interested in me just holding an open house, looking for a buyer for you? And it would still be the same commission, and it would get more exposure for your home. And I can even send that out to some realtors and stuff.
And you can
And-
get the agreement to be where they just pay the buyer commission if you bring a buyer, or you can make it to where
It's
if I.
permission to show, yeah.
Yeah, if I procure a buyer, then you'll pay me my listing
Right,
commission.
right.
So I
They
could.
sign a form that's a permission to show.
Mhm.
Right.
And so if the buyer comes through you, then legally they have to do what they've agreed to do.
Okay.
Yeah, and most of them are okay with it, but I've never done an open house.
I've never done an open house for them either, and maybe we should be doing
I
that.
don't know, that's interesting, right? Somebody's done it.
Somebody must have done it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sure we could find someone in the office that has.
Yeah.
But I haven't done that yet, no. What other things might people wanna know about the neighborhood?
I want to say something too about planning. Whenever you do open houses with houses that are, they're not vacant. I had a house in Ozark, and I did an open house, and then my client called me and they told me she was missing a gun. But thank God, before the open house, if it's not vacant, you need to explain to the seller that you are responsible for the open house and what is going on, but you cannot be responsible what the people going in are doing. So if they have anything of value that they think that, hide it, lock it, do something, but you're not responsible for what, it's their property. So just educate the seller, and just because you're gonna be there, you never know what's gonna happen.
Yeah,
So,
thank you for sharing, Liliana.
yeah, of course.
Now we're gonna review the list and emphasize the agent system. So agent safety should be a top priority for hosting open houses because there is risk involved in hosting open houses, as we talked earlier. Now, using a buddy system can mean having another person with you at the house. In addition, you should always let someone else know when and where you will be. Consider sharing your GPS location with a friend, partner, and even your market center leadership team. Parking on the street prevents your car from being blocked in case of the need for an emergency exit. It's also important to check all the entrances and exits before the open houses and have a fully charged cell phone. The agents may be using their cell phones to connect with clients on the app, so a full charge is necessary for that and for safety. Also, when you show a potential client through the house, allow them to walk ahead of you. You should be familiar with the local health guidelines concerning, this is COVID stuff.
Yeah,
I don't understand why they still have this.
and we don't currently have any more
Right,
restrictions
we don't
left.
anymore? Okay.
Not
So I'll
through
just-
GSBOR or
Okay.
anything, so.
So like we discussed, I was like, why are they telling, what about health guidelines are you talking about? I was like, what?
Well, they can come and go, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And in some areas of the country, there's probably still. some
Yeah, they're
stuff
still
going
going.
Yeah, there probably is, Ann.
Like we
Okay.
discussed when we went over open house conversation starters, it may be useful to bring a partner with you to the open houses. What are other safe practices for open houses that you can think of?
Take a gun.
That's right.
Have a police car in front.
Have a police car, right, yeah. Bring some maize.
So we used to have what we called the red folder. And if you ever got in a situation, you were showing a property or you were at an open house or
Mhm.
wherever, and you weren't safe, you didn't feel safe, then you could make a phone call and tell the person at the office that, hey, I forgot that red folder on my desk. Would you bring that to me? That way you don't have to call 911 right in front of that person, because that might escalate the problem. And so then the person back at the office knows to call 911, knows your location, and sends help on the way immediately. I don't know if Keller Williams has anything like that.
I'm not sure if we have like a safe
But you
word.
could do that with a buddy.
Maybe we
You
do,
could do
and
it.
I'm just unaware, which that's not me.
You could do it within your
But
team.
you can do it within.
It
your
wouldn't have to be
team.
Keller
Yeah,
Williams.
or
You could
you
do
could do it, with your partner.
With
It
your
can be
partner.
With anyone, like if there's someone that you know that you would call if you were in an emergency, you could even call 911 and say something like that, and they'd probably be like, okay, what's your ad, or they're looking at, whatever it might be, like they'll probably think something's up. But yeah, have some sort of buddy
And then you
system.
can, and then the person hears you give the address.
Yeah.
I'm at this address.
Mhm.
And if you could bring that to me, it'd really be helpful.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to
Yeah.
interrupt, but and
Yeah,
then they're
no,
okay with it.
Definitely, yeah.
So,
Yeah, just, and always listen to your gut. If something seems off to you, if you're not sure about someone, just always make sure to research and never think that you're being too cautious.
mhm.
We are meeting people, strangers in houses, and we don't know them. So we're breaking all the rules that our parents probably told us. But make sure that you know that there's, people that you can call, and have your leadership team's phone numbers available too. Have people, make those connections with people that if you need something that you can call them. Know that if you have an emergency or have a question, you can go on the internal page and do that as well.
Yeah.
I've been in situations myself where I'm meeting a stranger in a house and I just don't feel comfortable going, and maybe my husband can't go with me, so I just post on the internal page and I say, hey, is anyone willing to come with me? I'll even pay, I'll pay what I pay a showing agent per door, and just for you to come and be with me.
Yeah.
Richard.
A question came to me, well, how would you handle therapy pets?
Oh, that's hard.
Leave the dog at home.
So I don't think you can legally ask.
I just finished the CE for this year. And that's one thing that they're really sticky this year is their therapy pets, there's nothing you can do.
Yeah,
There, people are handicapped, and there's even alcoholic person is handicapped now. So you have to be really careful on discriminating dogs or, service dogs, animals.
Sorry.
I researched this for my previous job. There's a
Yeah.
difference between a therapy pet and a service animal.
Yes, there is.
Service
Yes, it
animal,
is.
you cannot deny. Therapy
Yeah.
pet, you can ask them to
Okay,
leave it in the
service
car.
animal, I'm thinking more.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, service animals, you cannot.
But you can ask, what service does your animal provide? The dog, it has to be a specific service, like it detects if, they don't. You can ask what service the dog is trained for or something without them you can.
Can the owner determine that?
Yeah.
No, if they're a protected class, no.
Uh-uh.
A disabled person is a protected class.
Yeah.
It's like if the owner said, now they can deny having you can't bring your cat and your dog, just because you want to bring your cat and your dog. So you can say, obviously, if someone shows up to the showing, you're gonna be curious as to why there's a dog. Normally, they're gonna have their vest of some sort, but you can't, I'm not for certain that you can, because they are a protected class. So I would call our broker. This would be a question that I'd probably call our broker, and if I were in that situation where someone shows up with their dog and it's a service dog, and maybe my client wouldn't want the dog in there, I'd call my broker and I'd say, hey, this is a service dog, they're a protected class, what can I do? And I don't think we can legally stop them from entering the,
I think you can ask for credentials.
Ye-
You can ask for credentials for the
Mhm.
service, and of course, people could
Yeah.
fake that or whatever, but you can ask that, I think.
Mhm.
But that's about as far as you can go.
I think we should ask the owner to begin with, before the open house, what do you think about a service animal, service dog? And they'll say yay or nay,
Mhm.
and then if they say no way, I don't want a dog in my house, then before we have the open house, we call the broker. Instead of waiting for it to happen, Cause if you wait for it to happen, I mean, they gotta stand at the door, let me
Yeah.
get clarification.
Yeah, you could always do that. I mean, it's a great question to ask our broker.
Just ask him that.
And have a response on, because it is a.
Are they
it's a
listening
really
in
good
now?
question. No, he's not online
Oh.
right now, but we can definitely ask him.
Jim's
It's a
very
really,
accessible,
he is really accessible, so.
and so's Don.
So
And
this
so
is
is Don.
probably the
Yeah.
stupid question, but what does it mean when it says check all entrances and exits? What am I checking for?
Making sure that there's no one in the house or that there's no one that has, tried to sneak in the house, so like. make sure-
Beautiful.
Huh?
How are ya?
Oh, Liliana, can you mute yourself, please?
Still not healthy, but
Oh, what's wrong?
There you go.
There you go.
Sorry.
People don't know.
Yeah, no, I was like, what is happening? I've definitely done that myself. Yeah, so just make sure, if you ever have questions about things like that, just make sure you ask, your broker.
Yeah.
And it's very easy to not know some things, like I've never been in that position before where someone
I
brings their
haven't
service animal, but this is a great question, because I'm like, I never actually thought of that.
Yeah, and the credential thing, they can go online.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like getting ministry credentials. You
Yeah.
don't have to go to school. You can just go online and get your certification. And you can do the same thing with
I do know
with a
that.
dog or a cat.
When you ask me that question, I know the laws in California when it comes to that, and it's a big, no- like, you can't say anything.
Yeah, I know.
They're super protected, so you
Yeah.
can't say anything. So to me, I'm just, when I think about a protected class, that's what I think, like,
Yeah.
I can't, like,
Yeah,
they're a protected class. So I'm not sure if it's the same across the board, so that's why I was like, I would probably just ask our broker on that. But yeah, great question.
You said something about paying your help at the door or something like that.
What?
You said something about paying your help at the door, somebody that would come help you. This was like the previous question. So what's like a ballpark that would be acceptable to?
Oh, like a showing age, it depends. So like if it's a one-timer, I usually pay $50, up to $50, depending on where it is.
Okay.
Now if it's someone that's gonna be helping me show houses to this client throughout the entire transaction, then I pay them $250 after the transaction closes. Yeah, so it's someone that, you know, I call them and I tell them, hey, I have a client that wants to see this house. They're probably gonna wanna see more houses. Are you available? And then I introduce them and then I'm still involved in the showing and everything and I'm their agent, but they help me with the showing part of things and then I pay them for that. Yeah. Okay, ahas. Questions?
The aha that I had is not really an aha, it's like, oh, really? It's about the service animals.
Right?
Well, it's just kind of like, wow, okay. I've never had that happen yet.
I
but, you
haven't
know.
either, and it really got me
Something better check
thinking.
on.
Now I'm like,
Now I have
now
to
I'm-
know.
now I have to know. Now I'm like, should we call Dawn? Should we call Dawn and Jim? All right, any other ahas?
Sell by owner.
Uh-huh.
It was discussed whether it would be at 3% or 6%. How would, I guess that's between you and the owner.
Yeah.
So
So
then you
that's,
want to start with 6 and maybe.
yeah, so I mean, it's gonna be on, depending on what you're trying to get. If you're trying to get the listing, then you're gonna try to go for that 6%. If you really just wanna market the property and show them, cause you can also go with the approach of like, hey, just let me show you what I do as an agent and host an open house and, you know, show up at a high level to that open house, and then you can come back and tell the seller, hey, how would you like it if I was able to coordinate all of your showings and handle all of the legwork and do all of the work for you? I would love the opportunity to, you know, represent you. So you can circle back on that if you want and try to get the listing after the open house, but you could also go at it from the beginning and try to go for the listing from the start. Just depends on which approach you want to take.
Plus, I'll show you something that I do. Everything's kind of negotiable. And you'll
Yeah.
actually end up with a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So it's good. I'll show you.
yeah, everything is negotiable. Why would you show me, huh?
Because.
You don't like me? I'm not good enough for your tricks? Okay. Just kidding.
Well, okay, fine. Okay, here's what I do.
I'm just messing with you.
So, you know, you list the house, right? And normally it's 3-3.
Mhm.
Well, hey, seller, I can get more activity. I can make your house the choice house to show by doing a 2-4. I take 2%, the seller brings, if
Yeah.
a buyer's agent brings the buyer, he gets 4%.
Yeah.
So it increases it.
Yep,
And then I might say, if I bring the buyer, I'll just do it for 4% instead of getting 3%. But I don't tell them instead of 3%. So.
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah, it's smart. Yeah, everything's negotiable. That's the thing. Even, I'm not gonna say it because it's being recorded, I'm gonna get the hand, but, yes, commissions are negotiable.
But you wanna negotiate them in your favor, of course.
Yes, exactly.
So you
Exactly.
feel better now I included you.
Yes, I feel included and fuzzy, thank you. All right, prepare, prospect, and pursue. Who would like to read the quote on the board for me?
You got a loving
between-
voice, Mary.
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, the difference between big and really big is how you manage your time and focus.
Difference between big and really big is how you manage your time and focus. Damn, that hits hard for me.
Painful.
Yeah. So use a prepare, prospect, pursue, and pursue model to approach your open houses. Refer to the blank notes page in your participant guide. And remember that the goal for your open house is to get appointments with active buyers and sellers. To be at your best and achieve what you set out for yourself takes preparation. Schedule preparation time during the week before your open house so you can ensure that you capture leads and set appointments. You'll spend more time preparing for the open house than you will be hosting the event. Prepare your mindset beforehand. Set high and achievable goals. Remove limiting beliefs. Focus on your success and believe in yourself. Practice conversations for greeting people, answering questions, capturing contact information, etc. How many leads do you intend to capture?
That's tough. Because, I don't know. I could intend to capture 10, but I have no control over it, do I?
No, you don't.
But I suppose if I intended to capture 10, then I could keep the house open longer and I could prepare a lot better and.
Or if you
Get some clowns.
hosted the open house from 2 to 4 and you had a goal of 10 and 7 people came and you got 7 out of those, then to me, I'd be like, oh, I set a goal. Maybe I didn't hit it, but it wasn't because you didn't get the appointment. It was because not enough people came.
So you're gonna go back to tracking it now, are you?
Yeah,
Are you-
track your
Are you?
lead sources. But see how it all comes back to
Yeah,
it?
yeah, you could track
you
it like
know?
that if you did,
See how it all comes back
for a
to,
couple of months, you
yeah.
tracked your,
or
okay.
if you know, okay, it takes me 2 appointments a week. Like if you're the type of person that wants to track each appointment, like what we were talking about when Amy was here, where our appointments are different because we're not going like cold leads, we're nurturing our database. But if you're doing it to where you do want those 2 set appointments a week, you can go in with the mindset of, I'm gonna get 2 appointments at my open house because that's my 2 appointments for the following week. So you can go with that. If you know that in order to hit your goal, this is how many appointments you need, then do it that way as well. It doesn't have to be, you can make it as big and huge and whatever, or you can make it as, an achievable goal that you'll be able to hit without a detriment to you feeling like, oh, I set a goal so high that it's not achievable, Smart goals, guys, smart goals.
What about a percentage of the people that I talk to? I want to set a goal that 70% I'll get contact information from and add to my database.
Yeah, whatever.
Because you don't have any
Would work.
control on how many people come.
Mm-mm.
You can do your best preparation. You can do everything that you know to do. You can door knock, you can put out the signs, and then only have 2 or 3 people come.
Yeah, but then.
It does happen.
The more I think about not having control and I'm a control freak, I think I could figure out a way to control them.
Well, you control it with your preparation.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if you're calling,
Yeah,
You know, if you're doing activities to invite people, if
Yeah.
you're doing the work, the preparation work, it's lead generation, guys. So it's not,
right.
the lead generation is not just showing up to the open house. It's not just that. It's the preparation that takes to do it, all that,
Yeah,
which is calling the people, door knocking the neighborhood, doing the online marketing, getting a video walkthrough of the property, you know, doing all of the things that are gonna get the most eyes out there for the time that you go to the open house. If you've done a good job at promoting that open house, you're gonna have people go. You're most likely gonna have people go. You'll at least have one person go.
There you go, that's the goal.
All you need is one.
and you
I
know,
need-
and you know, when you have downtime, because you'll have idle time at your open houses, use it for lead generation. Yep.
So how many appointments would you like to get from your next open house?
Maria, have you put up, have you done this? I'm sorry.
You'd be happy with one?
I would, but I mean, I
Yours sounds
always
like-
take them,
Have
I
you
would
done
always
this
take
7 days
more, but I don't feel like I don't
Oh.
know. I think that some open houses, you get a few more than you do at others, it just
Yeah.
depends.
For sure.
Mhm.
To me personally, I'm always happy with one.
Yeah,
I'm even happier with two.
yeah, yeah.
You know, anything above that, I'm always like, yay. But if I get at least one, that was worth my time.
Oh, absolutely.
I don't care if they're buying 3 months from now, 6 months from now, a year from now. I don't care. If I was able to get an appointment with them and get their information and get them, my first thing as soon as I get them is I'm gonna get them in my office and I'm gonna get you to sign that employment agreement. That's gonna be locked for a year and a half.
You do it for a year and a half?
Yeah, and my first one just expired and my clients asked me to renew it already. So,
Wow.
yeah, I do it super far. I always tell them like, if you wanna terminate it because you don't want it hanging over, we can terminate it if we're not like
Yeah.
looking for whatever reason. But for the most part, no one has ever complained about how
Yeah.
far my expiration date
I do a
is.
year. I was just a year and a half is,
Yeah,
yeah.
And I'm not so sure that I would argue it if they wanted to terminate it. If there was
No.
some kind of clash or something, I mean.
no, I always,
Oh,
here's what
no.
I do whenever I read the employment agreement to them on the termination clause on the contract. I just tell them, if you don't like me, if you don't wanna work with me, if we don't work, I'm not gonna hold you hostage, like, if it's gonna be, and I tell people, it's gonna be a long time of us working together, and if you're already not liking me, then this is gonna be a horrible transaction, and I would much rather refer them to someone that is gonna match with their personality than make this such a bad experience that then they're like, I hate them, and, you know, all of those things, so.
So really, that agreement really just keeps them from buying from someone else.
Correct. It's a protection to you, and I always tell them like, hey, this means that you can't cheat on me.
Right.
We are
Unless we agree that
in an
you can cheat on me.
exclusive relationship, you know?
Yeah.
Just the two of us. Now, if you decide that you don't wanna work with me, you decide that, you know, your Uncle Sammy twice removed wanted to get licensed, now you wanna use them, whatever the reason might be, I will let you go. Like, I'm never going to be that agent that's like pushy and like trying, it's not about me.
As
At the
long
end
as
of
you
the-
haven't already showed them a house.
Correct. This is in the case of like, we haven't even like made an offer or something and we
Yeah,
just have an
yeah.
employment agreement.
Yeah.
If that's the case, then I'm not going to hold them hostage. I'm
Right.
just not going to. I
Right,
don't find the need to do that.
And just to go an extra step, if they do terminate it, I always make a list of the houses we've shown.
right,
Yeah.
right.
But anyway, that's
Because
kind
of
of not open
procurement
house
law.
stuff.
Yep.
but anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, because if they go back to one of those, you should get the.
Well, you have
After a
a, you
certain
have a
amount of-
fighting chance on that one, but
Yeah.
again, I don't think it's worth taking anybody to court. I had
No.
the other guy that was in my office before he passed away. He fought somebody on it and they just trashed him out all over Facebook and
Yeah,
it was
yeah,
bad.
yeah.
And I was like,
But you use it to set expectation. It's an opportunity when you go over the buyer's agency with them,
Mhm.
it sets the
It sets the
expectation that
expectation, yeah.
they know that if they terminate you because they're gonna use their cousin that moved into the area, you've already set the expectation that everything that I've looked at with you, I'll use you as my buyer's agent. Anything new, then I can use my cousin.
Mhm.
yeah.
So,
Yeah. Mary, you have
So you create your own employment agreement?
No, so we have a state form that we use, which you'll get access to
Okay.
when you get access to, when you're licensed and stuff through Command and DocuSign or .loop or whatever you wanna use. You'll get all of those forms. So it's a legal binding document that we have, and it's how you employ your buyers. Now, that's not a contract for the house. That's just the agreement between the agent and the person.
Right. Right.
They're
Seeing that something about within 3 days, you need to have a form signed. That's not this? I guess maybe that's an offer made or something.
Are you talking about the listing agreement? If you have a listing agreement, then you should be listing the house 4 days after it's signed. So maybe that's the one you're talking about. So if you get a listing agreement with someone, let's say that Brad is letting me sell his house.
Never.
And
Hmm.
I go to him and we have a listing agreement and he signs it today. 4 days from today, I need to have that house on the market.
Okay,
Or have a
Where'd
coming
you see the
soon.
three?
Or have
in
it
the
coming
test
soon.
material?
Yeah.
yeah, 3 days. I think it's
Yeah.
Question.
just.
So when you say getting at least one appointment is worth your time, are you
Yeah.
pursuing actually setting the appointment there at the open house? Or are you
No.
getting contact information and then
Contact
following up?
information and then I use, I follow up with them
In life, it's
the following day.
Except the listing
And
part, I should say.
remind them, hey, this is Maria Galgano. We met at 123 Main Street Open House. It was so nice to meet you. If they don't remember like what house it was, I'll remember something about the house. So I talked to someone yesterday and I was like, oh, it's the house with the big refrigerator. And he's like, oh yeah, I remember. So have that also in mind if you're calling someone. And then you just call them and say like, hey, I remember you saying that you were looking and, I want ask questions, like you start asking questions and then you set the appointment. You go with the intention of setting the appointment, not having the consultation on the phone. So you set the appointment right there.
Right, okay.
That's good.
And we will build our open house plan at the end of this section as well.
Yay.
So after you've done.
That's when these cards that we are writing come that handy also. I usually send a thank you note saying, thank you for coming from my open house. And then 2-3 days later, I call them. So it's just 2 touches right there.
Yep. Yeah. You can also do a smart plan. So if I get their contact information, I tag them and then they immediately get put into a smart plan as well. Just stay in touch, stay top of mind. I have a past client of mine that he was my first listing actually that I ever had. And to this day, I still keep in touch with him and we did one of our care drop-off things that we do with Amy. And he was like, you guys do such a good job at staying top of mind because now I'm definitely thinking about who to refer to you. So just stay top of mind coming from value because that is huge.
Care package, what is that about?
It wasn't a care pack. It was we do Thanksgiving, a baker, like a pastry drop off during Thanksgiving for our clients, current or past. Some people do pies. Yeah.
And that's not illegal, it's just kind of a holiday.
No, it's just a
Thank you.
holiday. Yeah, it's just a gift that we're giving them. And it's just like it's a thank you, like, thank you so much for supporting our business.
Because you're not giving it in response to their behavior.
No.
That's incentivizing, is you do this and I will give you something. They're just giving it. And the hope
And we
is
normally,
that the
like-
person will then refer them. but it's-
And we
there's no
normally,
strings
and we're not,
attached.
and we normally are just dropping it off. We won't, unless they're home, we won't even bother them. It's one of those things that just appears in their door and we let them know like, hey, by the way, we did this.
You said pumpkin rolls? Put me on the list.
Are you gonna let me list your house? Exactly.
No, it's funny that you asked. I may put my house up for sale and I was thinking I might just get an agent to do it so I can jack around with it. I mean, my own house,
As agents, we're the worst. My husband, my sweet husband, I told him he was like the hardest client because he's just one of a kind, man. I'm like, wow, he's like, be my agent, babe. I'm like, I have to go home and see you. You know, my clients, I don't have to see, I can like leave and. So after you've done the hard work, you know, you're like picking your house, know the next few steps will involve maximizing potential client traffic at your open house. And a lot of this will involve posting online in the days leading up to the open house. 93% of buyers use a website to find a house. So go where the people are, post online about your open house. I actually have another fun statistic about that, but through the days leading up to the open house, remind yourselves not to call people on the do not call list, please, so that we don't get sued. You can get lots of good information from neighbors, door knock and ask them, what do you love about this neighborhood? That's a great way to break the ice too, if you want to just talk to the neighbors and invite them like, hey, you know, I want to hear what you like about the neighborhood. Tell me what you enjoy about it. Sometimes they'll tell me like, oh my gosh, you know, we have like this barbecue once a year, or we have this private Facebook group that we like post things on. And that's awesome, because then when people come by, you can tell them like, you know, it's super cool. They have a really tight community. They have a Facebook group that they post on and that they talk about. So you get to know your neighbors, and if there's issues or if people have questions about the ice-free roads, people post on there. So just make that a conversational piece for when you're talking to people as well.
Just kind of to go off to the side again, just for a second. There's a neighborhood here in town that I'm getting ready to take over, and they don't have a Facebook page, and I wanted to put one together. A neighborhood Facebook page is just a Facebook page, right?
Yeah, it's just a Facebook group.
Yeah.
Like if you want to do a Facebook group,
Yeah,
it's just a private Facebook group.
just call it whatever.
Whatever you
so,
want to
yeah.
call it, and then you just
Invite the
invite the
neighbors.
people that you want to invite.
Perfect, okay.
Yeah, it's pretty easy. So one of the really cool things, take advantage of, when you're doing open houses, take advantage of taking video of those houses and showcasing those houses on social media as well. Because you can talk about the neighborhood. You can show the house and say, oh, this neighborhood is located in the Southern Hills area, and you can talk about Southern Hills or Roundtree or whatever area that you know that's really sought out, if you have one in there, or if you have something, an open house somewhere else. But 79% of buyers want a 3D virtual tour, and 68% of buyers want a video tour of a house with an agent. So what I always tell people like, oh, well, what if I don't have any people show up to my open house? What do I do? Get a video of you walking that house, do a video walkthrough on your phone while you're doing there. Don't waste time. Like an open house, just because people don't show up doesn't mean that lead generation stops. You can still do lead generation. You can still do a video of like, you know, this house is this much money and this many bedrooms and this square footage. Call me if you want to schedule a private showing. You can do so much with that. So don't let people not showing up be a reason you don't do more while you're there. Yes.
Do you, or your team, post on your personal page, your open houses?
Yes.
Because I was gonna tell you guys that are just getting started, a really good way to make it look like you're off and running and you're doing a lot of business is those posts on your personal page of an open house. Because if you're going to an open house, if you're hosting an open house every week and you're putting that on your personal page, all of your friends, wow, she does a lot of business. Well, none of those open houses are yours. They're someone else's listing, but your friends don't know that.
Yeah.
Because they don't know much about real estate.
It's
So
funny.
you look like you're really busy and you're really doing a lot of things. And now all of a sudden I want to connect with her about selling my house because she seems to be really knowledgeable.
Yeah.
So we're talking about smoke and mirrors now.
No, not smoke and
I'm
mirrors.
teasing
You really,
Well-
you really
It's a
are
good
knowledgeable
idea.
because you're having all this open
We're
house.
gonna get in trouble.
Yeah, I mean,
No,
I agree.
but you're
I
right.
agree.
It's true. And you know what's funny is that when I was a new agent, I used to do that. I used to do the open houses, and you can share you can share an agent's listing with their permission. So make sure that if you're gonna share another agent's listing in your page, that you get their permission and that you put listing courtesy of
Right.
on the Facebook post, number one. Number two, I used to do that. I used to do that you know, I would go, and you can filter on the MLS per brokerage as well. So if you don't wanna deal with calling an agent from another company and asking them for permission unless you have that relationship, then you can filter per brokerage. And then most likely than not, their KW agents are gonna tell you yes, unless their seller says no for whatever
Right.
reason. But yes, to your point, I used to do that of posting new hot list, even to this day, new hot listing. Blah, 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 all the information at the bottom, listing courtesy of so-and-so.
Yeah.
No one knows that's not your listing.
Right.
And how do I know that? When my sweet grandma calls me and she says, oh my gosh, your listing is so cool and it's so expensive and I hope it sells so quick. And I'm like, yeah, grandma, great. I'm doing awesome. But people don't know. People really don't know. And you don't have to tell them either.
I
Like,
know, I just.
you don't have to tell them either. So just know that it is very much so smoke and mirrors, as much as we're joking around, it is, because at the end of the day, you're showcasing our job as agents is to know everything that there is to know of houses in the market.
Yep.
You should know everything that's selling, even for sale by owners. If you don't care, if you really don't want to pursue for sale by owners, that's fine. You should still be going to those houses because you need to know what's on the market.
Yeah.
That's
And
one of the questions you asked. Hey, I need to know what's on the
I
market.
just
for
need
my
to know
clients.
what's on the market. Like,
Oh,
I am an
yeah.
expert in my area, and if I don't know what's selling, how am I the expert in the area?
Right.
So make sure that you are taking advantage of those. If you don't have appointments or anything, go tour houses. Fill up your schedule with houses to go see and see what's on the market.
Yeah.
That's how you're going to learn about what the market is doing, what price points are what areas sell for what,
Yeah.
you know? You can, it's so funny because I was looking at a listing in River Cut. And there's subdivisions around River Cut, but once you get into River Cut, they're like 500,000, they're more expensive. And in my head, I had never sold a house in River Cut, so I was like, oh, they're all gonna be the same. And then Shannon's like, no, you have to filter them by River Cut because once you step out of this line,
Right.
the price point changes. But
Right.
just because you're in that area, it stays in this price point. So even by just looking at houses
Yeah.
and previewing them and knowing what they're selling for, understanding the things that you'll find in houses that sometimes you won't see often,
Yeah.
that makes you the expert. So even if you don't have a listing, that doesn't mean you can't go see other people's listings as well.
Yeah.
So can I ask a question real quick
Yeah.
about for sale by owner? That's kind of a weird gray area for me. I'm trying to sort out.
Okay.
So there's a sign near our house, someone
Yeah.
said for sale by owner.
Mhm.
It's got a phone number on it. So if I called them and said, hey, I'm a real estate agent, I live just down the road from you, I've seen your sign. Are you open for me bringing buyers? Is that what you
Right.
need to do in those
Yeah.
situations
Right.
or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or hey, could I
Exactly.
come by and see the house? I mean,
Yeah.
it looks like, I know the neighborhood and it's pretty,
Yeah.
nice house, what I see from the outside. Can I
Yeah,
just come by and
Yeah.
yeah,
then you've got someone's for sale by owner who may or may not sell.
Yeah.
And what you wanna throw in there
And then-
too, I'm sorry.
go
No,
ahead.
go ahead.
What you wanna throw in there too is that you particularly may not have a buyer, but we got 500 agents in our
Well,
office
I've always
that
got a
may have a
buyer, right?
buyer, you know?
Yeah. Yeah,
So-
so you can tell them like, let's say, hey, this is David with Keller Williams, how are you? Oh, this is the owner of 123 Main Street, blah, 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 blah. Okay, hey, I'm really interested in previewing your house because I might have some buyers that it could be a good fit for. Okay, do you have an offer for me? Well, I won't know until I see the property.
Yeah.
But do you have a buyer? I won't know until I see the
Yeah.
property. And then sometimes they'll ask you, well, are you gonna bring your client with you? No. One, you need an authorization to show
Right,
in order to take them. But one, you can say, no, in order for me to take them, I need an authorization to show, and I would hate to waste their time having them come here
yeah,
without me previewing it first. Would you allow me the opportunity to go preview it for them?
right. So for sale by owners, are they on
No.
the,
They're not on the MLS unless they're
But they're
paying
on,
for
could
it.
they be on Zillow
They're
or
on
Yeah,
something
just
like?
type up,
Maybe take their own pictures and they're
Yes.
not good
Yeah.
and all the rest of
Yeah.
it, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
they do pretty good.
You see all kinds.
Homeowners.com, Bizbo.com.
Okay.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah,
You see all kinds.
You see all kinds.
but you see all kind, and sometimes you'll see FISBOs that they have great pictures.
Mhm.
Normally, sometimes they're either agents or they're people that already have an agent, but the agent offered the photos to them until they decide to list with the agent. So
Okay.
there's a house on Essex, I don't know how you say it,
Essex.
Essex,
Out in Essex.
yeah, that was listed FISBO and that was listed by an agent, but the photos on that were used as the FISBO were from the agent. They were
Yeah.
professional photos, so
Yeah.
you'll see that as well. But yeah, you just go as, you know, and if they're fighting you, like, are you
Well-
trying to sell your house? Like, you know, like, and you could even say like, you know, I know that it's probably super stressful to have to be picking up phone calls from all these people. Would you be open to, you know, working with an agent so that they can coordinate those showings for you and you don't have to worry about having 50 million people call you up when you're at work?
Yeah.
So you just have to, you know, ask the questions, dig deeper and find those pain points so that you can make them think like, oh man, really, I probably could
is there any
not.
other reason that people are doing it for sale by owner other than they don't wanna pay a commission?
No, no, I don't
Not that
know.
I've run into.
Personally,
I'm
not
trying to
from
think
my
of a-
point of view, personally, I think it always comes down to the money.
I'm
Yeah.
trying to think of a reason why you
I
wouldn't.
think ultimately, it always comes down to the money.
Yeah.
Even if they had a bad agent experience, they're probably still willing to work with someone if you stay in, like, if you nurture them enough and you stay and, you know, you do the things to win them over.
You can
But-
also prepare some different packages, like, you know, I'll do this and this for X amount.
Yeah.
And if you really want to get your house sold quickly, the full amount of
Yeah.
6% or 7% or whatever you do.
Yeah, you have to go, really prepared.
Yeah.
For them, I would say, I like to go really prepared because everyone's personality is very different. So I try to have tools in my box that will help everyone. So if I'm talking to someone and I'm realizing that they're a very numbers-based person, I'm gonna pull out my net sellers proceeds sheet, I'm gonna pull out my average days on market, I'm gonna pull out all these statistics and broker metrics that we have, and I'm gonna talk numbers and facts, and I'm gonna like, listen, these are the facts, this is your return on investment, this is what I do. Why wouldn't you work with me,
Yeah.
you know? Yeah. Okay,
You can see that part in this section.
I just threw that out. I just-
I didn't see the physical part in this.
No.
I'm playing.
No, but
I had a
it's
cup of
good.
coffee, I'm starting to wake
It's
up,
Just
I'm
getting
sorry.
distracted. Wait till I
he's
have my coffee.
getting, now you're waking up, 2 hours late here. Okay, so what clients like to know are community and neighborhood information, relocation information, first time buyer specifics, and mortgage information. So knowing the numbers of the market will help you address things client inquire about that are not on the list. Knowing your average days on market, that is a simple, that is one easy thing that you can remember that opens a huge conversation for people. People that come to the open house intend to know community and neighborhood information. Remember, they're buying a lifestyle. Be a community service real estate expert by knowing your market. Become familiar with the neighborhood. Learn the name of the park down the street and popular restaurants in the area. Study the neighborhood history, explore and utilize the KW apps to maximize your lead generation and follow-up. Now, what other things about the neighborhood might be useful to know before hosting your open house?
I want to kind of emphasize the lifestyle
Mm-hmm.
of the area, because when we were in that, whatever,
The
the
luxury.
luxury home this morning, you know, he said he wasn't really selling the home so much, he was just selling the lifestyle of the community. So I think
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. If you have a house like in Roundtree area, you know, oh my
Are we
gosh, you know.
only allowed to host open houses for other Keller agents?
You're talking about like.
So I know that so if you hosted an open house from another agent, another brokerage, I don't think you're supposed to. I don't think you're supposed
I
to,
went to open
because of
house.
E&O insurance, I believe, I'm not sure.
Okay.
No, it kind of goes in, it's kind of slips into sub-agencies.
I've done it before.
You've done it before, Liliana?
Yeah.
Can't do it? Okay, so then you probably can. I wasn't sure. I know in some states you can.
Check.
Yeah, I don't know, but
would say-
but not everybody lets you.
Yeah.
Keller Williams, yeah, you call in Keller Williams, everybody lets you do open house, but other agencies, they know you're from Keller Williams wars.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but this is an agent that his father is a builder and he, I sold 2 of his houses, so he knows me. And so he actually calls me and tells me, hey, you wanna do an open house? Sure. So
What if it's another market center?
another, yeah,
Yeah.
not Keller Williams, Marty. Yeah,
But well, if it's, Anne's just asking if it's like in Branson, yeah, you can totally do that. If
oh,
you're-
yeah.
Totally do that, it's no problem. Normally, it just comes down to asking. So like Liliana was saying, if you have an established relationship with an agent and you know that maybe they won't be hosting an open house or they can't or whatever it might be, you can ask. They might say no, depending, on their broker or whatever. For the most part, I just stick to KW because it's easy and we don't have a lack of open houses. But again, if you have the relationship or if you see a house that you're like, oh my God, I would die to have an open house there, you could try. The
Well,
worst.
I live down there, so it would be easier for me to do. open
Yeah,
house.
yeah, so you could totally do that, and I know that the Branson Market Center has a good relationship with our Market Center too, so it's, I'm sure it wouldn't be an issue. People often choose to move to growing areas. This is where neighborhood information will be important. What's something convenient about the neighborhood you live in that you'd like in the next neighborhood you move to?
I'm not moving yet.
The rec center?
The rec center, okay. Do you live in Branson?
Well, nursing homes that are close, that's my important thing right now.
Right.
Next time I move, that's where it's gonna be.
For me, it'd be, we have little trails around. I really like having them.
I like the lake because it's a sailing lake and I like to sail.
No.
There you go.
My house is like a quarter to a half mile from the park, so, and we have a big walking trail and waters, they're fun.
Others.
Okay, so knowing financial and mortgage information is also something visitors might ask about, which is why it would be great for you guys to have a lender partner there because they'd be able to answer all those questions as well.
Did you normally do that
Have a lender? Yeah, I've had lenders with me. If they're available, I try
on a
to.
regular basis, or was that pretty?
Not on a regular basis. I'll probably do it more this year. My first year I did it with Gershman a lot.
Okay,
And then this year I'm partnering with some of my preferred lenders to do it as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it helps you strengthen that relationship with your lenders as well.
yeah,
Because they want the business as much as you do. And if you're able to get a buyer lead because we're also there, you're most likely going to
Right.
be working it with them,
right.
unless your buyer decides to choose someone else, which they can.
So how does that fall into, like, when we do inspections, we can't say to the client, this is the inspector I would use.
Uh-huh. Mhm.
Here's a list of inspectors, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
How does that fall into play with a lender there? I mean, you're kind of like, this is the lender I would use, so to say, but you're not really saying that, are you?
No, I don't say
You're just saying
that.
this, he's here to
No,
provide information.
Yep, I
Okay.
just say, hey, this is one of my lender partners. And they're here to host the open house with me. I've worked with them. And I set the expectation with my lenders as well. I have lost a relationship with the lender because they were mad that the client went with another lender. It was a sticky situation. So the lender brought me the client. We had an agreement.
Wow.
And then the client, he just could not qualify with that lender. Like there was just the programs that they had just didn't work. And so she asked me if I could introduce her to other lenders. And I was like, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I can't say no, you
Right.
know, and so I had a conversation with that lender and I said, hey, I am really sorry. Is there anything else that the bank can do to help this client? No, okay, well, I'm gonna have to refer them to another lender because they've asked. That lender never responded to my text again, and I tried referring business again, and it didn't work out.
Hmm.
Now, to me, I felt bad because obviously you don't wanna burn a bridge with a lender like that, and it wasn't my intention, and at the same time, we have a fiduciary duty to our client. So I always set the expectation with my lenders, like, hey, whenever I have my buyer's consult, I give them a list of all of my preferred lenders. And I've worked with all of them at one point. Love all of them. Talk to all of them. I tell them, talk to all of them, ask all the questions, ask them about their programs. Because each client situation is different. And as much as I like working with Joe over there, that doesn't mean that my client's gonna be able to work with Joe over there. So don't, make sure that you are being ethical about that because it's ultimately, it's not just about you and the relationship with that vendor. It's also about what's gonna be in the best interest for your client. So.
Yeah. And let them know that, they can pursue more than one lender.
Yep.
Because the way they've set up the credit bureaus now, you've got a 30-day window.
Yep.
To have multiple pulls for the same purchase. So if it's a home purchase, pre-approval, and it won't cost you any points.
Yeah.
So it's not gonna hurt your credit score. That's a big myth that you guys will run into that's out there. People are like, oh, I've been pre-approved with him. I can't talk to anybody else because it'll hurt my credit score.
Right.
Yeah.
And so you'll need to educate them and let them know that it won't, and that shopping is a good thing.
And it is a good thing. I always, like I said, I always tell that to my clients, shop lenders.
Yeah.
Because each lender has different programs that will benefit you.
They do.
And again, as much as we like working with that one person, we shouldn't just be sending them to that one person, because what if you send them to this one person and maybe this other lender could have saved them money? But now you lost your client money because you were more worried about making your vendor happy. That I just, personally.
Yeah.
That's just me.
So each lender doesn't hit your score
No,
if it's within their 30 days?
the first one
Within the
does.
Yeah, the first one
I think
does.
is 5
Mhm.
points. And then you can go to multiple lenders within a 30-day window,
Mhm.
and they can hit your score.
Now, don't be
Hit
going
your
out
credit
there
bureau.
talking to like 50 million lenders.
No, but
you know?
3, everybody should probably shop
Yeah,
3.
3.
you
Yeah.
As long as it's in the same industry, like housing, mortgages.
And I usually give them 3 to shop that I've
Yep.
done business with, my clients have done business with. I have a lot of confidence in.
Yeah.
And then if you know somebody else too, I mean, obviously, I'm not telling you have to use one of these 3, but
And it also, just your vendors knowing that you're referring them at all and
Yeah.
them receiving that phone call is also a good thing, because then they're like, oh, thank you so much for thinking of me. Like,
Yeah.
I've had lenders that I have sent referrals to that we just haven't had a chance to work together. But they always tell me like, hey, thank you so much for still thinking of me and like still sending me referrals. It means a lot. So even doing it, even if it's not gonna work out, and you tell them, like, whenever I have a conversation with my clients and I have referred them to someone or have given them a list, I reach out to those lenders and I tell them, hey, they're gonna be reaching out to you, just so you know, I did refer them to 3 lenders. So ultimately, it's gonna be their decision who they end up working with, but let me know how it goes and I look forward to working with you.
yeah. And the referrals are a 2-way street.
Yeah.
If you're sending referrals, you're going to receive referrals. So, and lenders run into people all the time that call and want to get a pre-approval, and they don't have an agent. They're not working with anybody. So it's an opportunity for them to send them back to you. So.
Opportunity.
Do you refer
You just
all about
have to take
relationship.
action.
before you get a signed agreement?
Sometimes.
What was your question?
Sometimes, do you refer a lender before you get a signed agreement?
Sometimes, yeah.
Sometimes, I have before, because sometimes they really wanna talk to the lender first. And they're like, hey, we just really wanna know where we're at. I've also done it where the lender is at my buyer's consult, cause I tell them like, hey, we're gonna do your needs assessment. And I'm gonna set up your search and everything. Would you be open to meeting with a lender right there? That way you don't have to, go or whatever. And I hit up all my 3 lenders, and whoever's available will come. And then I tell them, if you wanna reach out to these other 2, these are your other options. But then they get to ask questions right there. And then the fear of the financing kind of gets settled down a little bit.
So this is even further off topic, but if you could answer it after class.
Yeah.
I would be totally open to that. Just how do you start a relationship with a lender or any vendor for that matter?
Yeah.
Usually starts with chocolate chip cookies.
Coffee.
Yeah, you call them up and you ask them like, hey, I'm a new agent and I would love to build a relationship with you and connect with you and hear about what you have to offer in your programs and market.
Oh, okay.
Just come from that. For the most part, they're gonna jump at the idea of going out to
Oh, yeah.
coffee with you. They'll be like, yeah, let me be your preferred vendor. So don't be afraid. They are more likely than not gonna be like, oh my God, yeah, absolutely, whenever you want. So
The event that invite you guys last week, that they wanna do free shots for people. Those events, they do events and they buy you coffee and they bring you
Yeah.
gifts and
yeah.
they wine you and dine you, so, yeah.
How do you find out about the lender events?
Normally, if you have a relationship with them or if they have your contact information, they'll reach out to you. So if like the lenders that I've done deals with, they normally are the ones that send me invitations, or lenders that want to nurture a relationship with me and we haven't done a deal with together, they'll still invite me and I'll go and show up. And I still support them. Like, I wish I could work with all the lenders, but I can't.
You can interview them, you can get
Yeah.
a list of lenders, mortgage people off the.
Yeah, and you should, and
Just
you
call them and say,
yeah, and you
Yeah,
should
they're
be
good.
interviewing your lenders and your vendors and whoever you're using. For me, for example, I have my lenders that are Hispanic, that speak Spanish, that I know are gonna treat my clients really well. Liliana does too. I have my clients that if they're in the queer community, I have a lender that I'm gonna refer them to because they're gonna feel safe and they're gonna feel like they're being treated well. I have lenders for, people that need down payment assistance because they don't have the money for it. So you can have little categories for each one and just, say like, oh, okay, I think this would be a good fit for my clients, and just send them that way. Let them figure out who they want to use, because you might think they're a good fit and they might hang out better with the other one, so.
Yeah. As you're just getting started, rather than just do a Google search, you can start with the preferred vendors of Keller Williams, because there's already relationship built there with the market center, and reach out to them. And they're gonna be excited about meeting with you and telling you what they have to offer your potential clients in the future. And then they'll tell you about their events. They'll put you on their database. And they'll send you information when they have events or when they
And if
have
you,
information.
yeah,
they're
and if you
offering.
have a good lender, they're gonna keep you up to date on their programs, they're gonna keep you up to date on the mortgage rates, they're gonna keep you up to date on anything that's happening in the market, like, they're not just gonna try to give you gifts and stuff, they're also gonna be coming from contribution and value, because we're not lenders, but we should still be able to know, something about, oh, they have a down payment assistance program, or, oh, this house falls in the MHDC, which one of my lenders is able to help me with that? So just being able to know that. And then there's lenders that also offer 101 financing classes. Like, if you want to learn more about financing, just so that you have that knowledge, there's lenders that offer that as well. So there's not a lack of finding the right people when it comes to your vendors.
Right.
So it's fair enough to ask them what sets them apart.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Selling
And
themselves too.
yeah.
Yeah.
And you're almost always guaranteed to get a free pin.
In May, the the Board of Realtors here has an affiliate expo event. And you'll have lenders, home inspectors, title companies, photographers, anybody real estate related, and that's free for agents to go to and walk through it. It's a great way to get in front of a lot of people to make connections.
Yeah.
That's true.
Sorry, but a photographer, I need a reference for a good photographer for this weekend.
Matt Schmitley is my person.
Who is it?
Match.
Matt Schmitley. I'll write his phone number down.
Yeah, put his stuff up for us.
I
What's
don't
the
know.
location of the property?
It's Battlefield and roughly
Yeah, he's
Battlefield.
great. He
Kansas.
does all of our listing photos and
Um,
videos.
Ridgeview, yeah, it's on Ridgeview. I can't remember the sub. But anyway, they're coming in to get it listed this weekend and I need a photographer.
I've got a great one too, if that doesn't work out.
Text it to me, 816-520-6943.
I'll share information with you after.
Dwell Imaging is also a good one.
Yeah. Albert's photography.
They're very fast. Dwell Imaging is really fast too. So is Matt. Matt's our number one guy. Like whenever we have listings, he's the one. He does our videos and photos. And Dwell Imaging, I would say would be my second one.
Thank you, sorry to go off.
No,
that.
you're totally fine.
Is this photographer someone that we would pay or the buyer would pay?
Well, as the listing, I pay for photos and videos as the listing agent. Yeah.
Okay.
I do.
As the buyer, you don't pay for photos and videos. It's just as the listing agent.
Okay.
And then also when you write the listing agreement, you have the option to charge an admin fee, which would cover some of your expenses.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have a house to list, we call Matt, we schedule it, we pay for the photos and video. And then at the end of the transaction, we have a lot of out of pocket in the front, and then once the transaction closes, it pays back what we spent on the listing going live.
So how much does he usually charge? Is it based on square foot?
Yes, and it depends on what we add, so like we have him do intros for us for our videos. So he does like a little intro with us, and then he does another video just for the MLS with not our face on it. And then he also does a vertical version for social media. Yeah, so it just depends on, and we have like menus that we offer for our clients when we're listing. So menu 1 offers this, menu 2 offers this, and menu 3 offers this. So it depends on what the client is willing to pay for as well. Okay, so brush up on the home buying process. Open houses are a great place for first-time buyers, and they will likely have a lot of questions. Get your visitors to download and use the KW app to leverage leads. That is a super easy way to get their information too. They can just QR, download, and then it captures their information. The more familiar you are with first-time buyer specifics, the more questions you'll be able to answer at your open houses. You don't have to know everything there is to know about mortgage information, just know enough to get them down the road, like the general interest rates. For more specific information, this is where bringing a lender can be beneficial.
How do you get their information if they download your app? I've never seen it anywhere.
On your command, it should come as a lead.
Oh, it just comes in as a lead?
Yeah, on your command.
Wow. So automatically, as soon as they download that?
Yeah, if they download the app, it automatically populates to command and saves their information. And then you should get an email, or if you have the app, it'll also notify you. And it'll say lead captured and the name of the person.
So is that the red KW
Yeah.
or the white?
No, that's the red one.
Okay, that's the one that comes out of command.
The white.
The white one, the red is.
Oh,
command.
the red is command, the app is the white,
Yeah.
sorry. Okay, so to refer to blank notes page in your participant guide. If you've read MREA, then you've heard of leads, listings, and leverage. Open houses are all about leads, and leads. An open house is a great prospecting tool that requires mostly time as an investment. Let's look at some of the ways you can use open houses to prospect your leads.
Okay, wait a minute, sorry. I've been waiting to ask this question
Yeah.
on this checklist. It's just a quickie. Get 1 yard sign with rider. Get 10 directional signs with riders. What's a rider?
Writer is the ones that show where the, no, the writer is where it shows like your phone number and information.
The rider's got your name
So the
on
best
it
place
and
to
your
buy
phone number.
those is OTC, and they're like $10 a piece, and they do it on metal if you want it on metal. Very, very good work. I'm
Yeah.
very impressed with their work.
The whole sign? Or just the
Just the
rider?
rider.
Just the writer.
Oh, okay.
I buy my signs here.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate that. That's all I need, thank you.
Oh my God, sorry guys, someone just let me know that they're receiving an offer on a property I really like.
Oh.
And I'm like, no. Now I gotta go home and talk to my husband.
Well, that you were wanting to buy.
It's an investment, yeah, it's an
Okay.
investment. Okay, so,
What a distraction.
I know, right? I'm like, oh, I was like, who? Someone called me and it was her. Anyway, it's fine. Okay, so what are some of the ways in which you can use open houses to prospect? Can you read, Brad, would you read the board for me, please?
Sure, you can use open houses to prospect, to build trust and rapport, provide value, and capture information and qualify leads.
Perfect, thank you. An important part of the open house is to build trust and rapport with the foot traffic that visits the house. Ways you can do this are to greet everyone as they come in the door, even the kids and the dog,
With your security shirt on.
with your security shirt on. If you have a name tag, have a name tag on. Ask visitors, what brought you in today? Are you looking for a home in the neighborhood? What price range are you looking in? Have you been looking at other houses? Would you like to know more about the market neighborhood? What do you like about this house that I may share with others? And number 3, be positive and upbeat. Remember, clients are thinking about their futures and lifestyles. Be a positive force in their imagination. It's important to meet the clients where they are. If visitors don't seem interested in engaging with you, match their energy and let them be. Yeah, they don't want to talk to you, don't talk to them. I definitely have people like that. I'm like, okay, bye. You know, what are you gonna do? You can't force them. But for the most part, they're really nice, for the most part. During an open house, it's important to demonstrate and provide value. You can do this several ways, and the most obvious is to know your numbers. When you get to the day of the open house, make sure you know your stats or that of your team or your market center. Know your market stats, like how many days the house has been on the market, the price, the number of houses sold in the neighborhood, and for what price. And number 3, understand personality types and conversation styles of different people. Did they engage with you when you greeted them? Mirror their behavior and match their energy and interest levels. What are some things you're able to offer visitors when they come to your open house?
Oh, information on the home, valuable information. I mean, isn't that why they're there?
Yeah, water, snacks.
Well, that kind of stuff. Okay.
You know, a brochure on
Okay.
market statistics. If you have listing reports, you can download like the walkability and all that stuff that they do, the reports.
Okay.
There is plenty that you guys can offer, like the consumer app, the market reports, the list of other houses. You could even do a list of other open houses. It says here raffles, but again, I'm not sure that that applies to everyone. So we're just gonna.
Let's go back to a list of other open houses. We're trying to capture them.
Yeah.
If we send them to another open house, we should capture them before they go.
Mhm.
Because if I send them to your house and
You
I'm
can
having
do a
an open
digital
house,
copy
you
of it.
know they're gonna get you instead of me. Because
Yeah.
you're just better at it.
That you can get their contact information
Yeah, but I mean, couldn't you
Sending
like
it.
capture them? I mean, I don't know. Anyway,
Yeah,
I mean, you know,
you could. I've done it to where I have a list of open houses and then I tell them like, hey, let me text this to you or let me email this to you and you'll have a list of all the open houses going on this weekend. And then you already have their contact information.
Yeah.
And then you can follow up and say, hey, how did the rest of those open houses go?
you'll say, well, Brad, the one I went to that Maria had, she was great. And she
I'm
was
working with her
prepared
now.
and I'm working with her now. And I was like,
But coming from contribution, it might be helpful.
yeah.
It can go
yeah.
both ways. Yeah, it can go.
I was
both ways.
being too competitive at the
Yeah.
time.
Consider partnering with a local business for a small discount on services. I'm sorry, they have like contests and raffles on here. I'm not gonna do that. What did you notice during, I'm not gonna do that either because it's the raffle. Sorry. One of the primary uses of the KW apps is to be able to organize and consolidate lead information. Before, during, and after open houses, make sure you capture information and qualify leads. There are several ways you can do this. Would someone like to read?
Have a sign-in sheet, use command, use the KW app, ask questions, and remember you're there to get leads and appointments.
Perfect, thank you so much. Doing these 5 things and doing them well will help the participants achieve success when hosting open houses.
So what do you mean by qualifying leads?
You are qualifying them by asking them, you know, how long have you been looking to buy? Are you working with an agent? Have you spoken with a lender? What's your timeline looking like? Do you own a rent? Are you relocating? Are you looking to stay in the area? That's how you qualify them, is by asking questions.
Determine if there's, how serious they are.
Yeah, so
Okay.
you can ask Ford questions, which stands, you know, you guys went through that already?
Yeah.
Good.
Okay.
Who, what, where, when, and why. So, yeah, just ask questions. That's how you really get to qualify them as a buyer. Remember, the goals of open houses are to generate leads and sell houses. Make sure you follow up and convert leads after an open house so your time investment pays off. It's time to pursue your leads. Reconnect with all your visitors. It's good practice after an open house to immediately update your database with contact information, notes, motivations, tags for smart plans and neighborhoods. That should be part of your post open house. After that, it's time to reconnect with the visitors, reach out to them and thank them for coming as they're enjoying the KW app in their search for a new house, and ask if they have any further questions. Follow up, follow up, follow up. Please find the activity that says plan an open house. And I'm gonna allow you guys, it should be in your participant guide. Now I'm gonna allow you guys 5 minutes to fill up the page. Plan your open house. It says, have them find the activity, plan an open house.
7.13.
I mean, I've got it, but never mind. I'll mess around with it.
What page is it on?
7.13. 7.13.
Yes, I feel like I like Friday nights.
Oh,
Yes.
Yeah.
Cause people
Some of the
come there
screens-
anyway, you know, you can play a little bit of music,
It
got a little bit of
shows us
snacks.
117
let's-
on my
It
PDF.
become a thing, I always wanted to
Oh,
have like a
PDF is
little,
gonna be different, I guess.
you know,
Yeah.
Jesus party or something.
Richard?
We could totally be
Destiny
a
says the
vibe.
PDF
Yeah,
doesn't.
you
Mine
know,
shows
Yeah.
page 117.
The people that come to it
117.
feel your vibes, and if you're,
I guess
for
the
lack of a
PDF
better
has the
term,
update.
high on the idea. you know,
117.
Oh,
Yeah, I totally get
okay,
it.
I've got like 7-13.
Yeah.
All that, I feel like this could.
Well,
totally
on
be
your,
my jam.
up here, it should tell you like what
If it's
book
done
page
properly,
number
it
you're
works
on.
great. And if you enjoy it, it's cool. I know that
I'm working on a
from my
PDF that
past,
was sent to me by email.
I wanna say this.
The last several
Jeff,
slides
I
that she
didn't have
covered,
one
that's not
to
even
run
on mine.
Okay, looky here. What's
Some
the
open
piece?
house.
That's what she's talking about, is
But it's
that
never
number, that's
because
the
I
page
compare.
of the
I
PDF.
mean, really, it's
And
about
yeah, that's the page at the bottom.
And so, yeah,
This
and then
page
as far
is
as times go,
A fake
I mean, you
open
know,
house
you've
they
got
want us
people
to
that take their kids to
scroll
school in the
over.
morning and
Is
you know,
this,
they're coming back home. I mean, you can do early morning, or not early morning, but
No.
you can do morning ones too. I mean,
No, the other way.
just play with it, find the ones that work. Kind of like, she said, track it.
There, this is where we're
I
at.
don't
right
like
here.
Sunday afternoon so much, but
Yeah, that's
Well,
one
yeah,
family.
Don't answer the
thing.
questions on this page.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
That are, like, my siblings.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's our.
Yeah.
And then Saturday, they're usually, kids are doing sports and things like that, so. I feel like Friday.
what do you think about, what do you think about Friday nights? So I mean, man, it's been a long week, I just want to get home, you know? I don't know, try it and see, I mean, why not? You know, I mean, I would go to one at Friday night, but then I don't have, it sounds stupid, but I don't have a family anymore, you know what I mean?
Right.
So I'm like, sure, let's go play, I mean, let's go look around.
What would you say your success was on a Friday evening?
It was good, cause a lot of people, like, if they don't wanna spend their weekend looking at houses, if they're already out of work, then they're on the road and they're, you know, oh, let me just stop by this open house. So I got some pretty good feedback from it. It was just slow the first couple of hours and then busy towards the end. Cause
So maybe like 6 to 8 would be better.
I just don't like doing it when it gets dark out early for safety reasons.
Well, they can't see the outside of the
And they can't see
house.
the outside of the house, so that's one of the things that I do take into consideration, like daylight savings, is I don't like doing it when it's dark out for safety and just like she said, you can't really see the property.
Then you could use that to say, you know, it's really getting late, you know what, if you wanna see the outside house better, here's my card, give me a call, we'll get you back in.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Something like that. And then balloons, can you get, you know, you see those, like at car lots, they have balloons on a they're not balloons, but they're on a plastic stick and they look like a balloon.
Yeah.
Where
I
do you
did
get those
I did balloons my first open house. My little happy self went and got helium balloons because someone told me like, oh, put balloons out, blah, blah, blah. So I got balloons. It was fall time. It was raining. I just remember it was raining and it was in the Valley Trail subdivision that Grady's has.
at?
And I was like, oh, great, I'm gonna get balloons. They all popped. One of them flew away. They were like dead by the time that the open house started. And I was like, I'm never doing this crap ever again. I was like,
Yeah.
screw these balloons. So then what I did is I got a flag post
There
from
you go.
Amazon
Mhm.
and they're like $30. You just stick them in and they're it's pretty tall. It comes in like 3 different pieces that you like stick together on top of each other. But it says open house and it just like, it's like a flag.
It's a feather
It's
flag,
a-
yeah.
Yeah, it's a feather flag. And I just put it on the corners of the entrance of the neighborhood I'm hosting at.
Yeah, I like that better than balloons, cause I've had bad luck with balloons
Oh
too.
gosh, those darn balloons. I was like, I'm never bringing, I don't like balloons. Like whenever I do birthdays and I have to go to Party City and get the balloons in the car, I'm like, get in there.
So I'm also thinking, I like the idea of teaming up with people because if there's a lot of activity, you lose track of people. Plus, everybody, you know, you do this, I'll do this, whatever. I kind of like that. To team up in today's age, so to say, however you say that. I think that's a good idea. Plus, it just makes you feel better. And if it's a slow open house, you have somebody to tell jokes to. But to talk with. So, but this is a great list, I love it. So what are we supposed to do with this? I got our favorites or?
I think just see what'll work for us and what won't. Just try different ideas to try, right?
Lining out your open house. What does it look like here? Let me see it, because I don't have a copy of it.
It almost looks like something that you would, kind of like, almost like the 7 steps to an open house. I mean, all of these are things you should do. So I definitely agree with getting out there 2 or 3 days ahead and letting people know, have a flyer to hand out. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good checklist.
So I was saying with your,
That is, I'm pretty sure that's the Seminole Open House. Check that.
I would say with your friend.
So after you've hosted the open house, it's time to go back to the original goals you set for yourself in your participant guide. How many appointments did you intend to get out of the open house?
Everyone that walks in the door.
Would you consider the open house a success? That is so weird. I wonder if this is like. Okay, what are your ahas? I don't understand the activity of how they're supposed to have it.
Well, as far as kind of what you said, I think my aha would be to take 2 months and consistently do, an open house 2 days a week and then track it. And then I feel like I could comfortably set a goal, an achievable goal.
Yeah.
But as far as so I would say my aha, it's not like, wow, that's unusual. It's just that,
Still an
to use it
aha.
more, it's to do it a little bit more with science versus just, I'm gonna throw an open house. Well, I didn't have anybody show, so open houses don't work.
Yeah.
Seven drills, like, be careful, Brad. But anyway, so that would be my aha, was to track them and actually, because it is a good tool and to track it,
Yeah.
just take a summer or, anyway, and track it and see, and anyway, that's it. Aha.
And see if you're getting your ROI. Yeah, no, that's great. Anyone else? Destiny? You're so quiet back there.
I don't know, I think my ahas have been listening to other people and, cause I have a hard time, the ones that I have had, getting people to sign in or give information, so just hearing people brainstorm and suggest different ways to do that, then put your
Yeah.
name on this piece of paper, I think that's very
Yeah.
helpful.
And sometimes you have to not sometimes, most of the time you have to incorporate multiple ways of gathering people's information. You gotta get, what is it, like 4 no's before you get 1 yes? So just ask them like, oh, would you mind filling this out? No, okay, let them walk around like, oh, what'd you think about this house? Oh, that's great. Would you mind filling out this and leaving some feedback? Or, hey, would you mind if I send you the seller's disclosure so that you can see what condition the property is in? Just asking different ways of getting that information is definitely helpful, because not everyone's gonna wanna pick up a piece of paper and fill it out.
So would you like for me to send the seller's disclosure? So that has, I'd like to see one of those. How do you? work?
Yeah, so the seller's disclosure, you give them to your sellers whenever they're listing a house. You don't fill it out for them, they have to fill it up. And it's everything that any material information that they know about the property that they'd like to disclose. So like the age of the roof, the age of the HVAC, if there's been any pest control damage, what type of electrical stuff they have. The only things that they have legally to disclose is methamphetamine, lead-based paint, hazardous materials. What's the other one? Is there one more?
I wasn't listening,
There's
sorry.
4, right?
But I can't remember that.
Hazardous
I
materials.
usually
lead-based
print the
paint,
disclosures off.
Radon, yeah.
Yeah, I usually print the disclosures and the detail page off for the open house.
You print it out?
I do, and I staple it and hand it as a packet, and my business card stapled to the top. And so they get a little packet when they come in.
Oh, thank you, Destiny, yeah. Yeah, see, I go back and forth on that. I change it a lot. Like, there's times where I'll bring copies of it and I'll have it available. And then there's times where I'll still bring copies of it, but I won't have it just out for people to grab or for me to give, because it doesn't allow me the opportunity to get their information if I just give it to them. Because if you already gave them.
Well, I give them the survey too.
Oh,
So
okay,
with a
yeah.
pencil, so when they're walking through the house, they can kind of write their thoughts.
Okay, yeah.
Which is, it's really helpful.
Mhm.
It's helpful to me to give to my sellers, but also, it's a way for them to
Yeah.
fill out a paper.
Yeah.
And plus, I'm obviously really chatty, so I'm gonna talk to them.
Yeah. No, I get that.
I mean, I'm
I
a
am
teacher.
too, so I can't, you always. I'm like, I'm gonna make you talk to me.
If you set up your open house like you should, then you've created the atmosphere
Oh, yeah.
for the potential for picking them up as a client would be greater.
Yeah, yeah. I think that the atmosphere that you create definitely makes a difference. That's why, allow yourself enough time to show up, to set up, so that you're not rushed, so that you tidy up the space if you need to. I love hosting open houses where it's occupied or staged, mostly because people can imagine the space, there's furniture, it's not as awkward because you're just standing there. You're just like kind of standing there.
Sometimes you need to sit down if nobody's there.
What was that?
Sometimes you need to sit down if nobody comes.
Oh, yeah, I just sit on the floor and then I'm like,
If I get down, I have to have a plan for getting up.
yeah.
So the plan has to be in place before I'm down there.
Right. All right, let's recap. So we talked about best practices for an open house, the benefits of an open house, and preparing, prospecting, and pursuing. Do you guys have any questions about the covered topics that we talked about today?
Yeah, I don't know if you can answer it because you diverted away from it, but in your material, it was talking about a raffle.
Yes.
What was that kind of talking about? Just in general.
Consider partnering with a local business for a small discount on services as a
Okay,
raffle price.
that would work. That would work, a raffle like that, because it's a local, the business is doing the raffle, not you. Like a lender is giving away something.
For a small discount on services.
Yeah.
I don't know. Okay, so it says, when you choose to do any kind of contest or raffle, keep in mind this warning. Contest and other incentives may be prohibited in your jurisdiction by real estate rules and other
Okay.
laws.
Because I like
So,
the idea, but it's touchy.
yes.
You can give away things like keychains and magnets and things like that that are branded, but they're not worth anything.
Yeah, you can give out stuff like that. It's just the exchange of like
We'll take it for
monetary
information.
compensation. Yeah, monetary compensation. I know that, well, since I have Courtney, do you guys do giveaways and raffles?
It's
I know there's a
it's
way
not
of-
advertised or anything like that. But if you were to come to an event, you could enter into.
So is that what it is? Is you
Yeti.
can't advertise it, but you can have it?
We've done that, yeah. But you just you can't put it on your social media, like enter to win here, and you have to you have to give all your information online, like you can't do anything like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the reason I asked Courtney is because she's with Grady Real Estate and they have, I've seen that you guys have like some sort of system, and I know that there's a way of doing it. I've never done it, so I don't feel comfortable advising you guys on that, but you could always talk to.
Kelsey is our marketing director, so she's the one that would blast anything on her social media. And she knows those rules like the back of her hand, yeah.
So you could put, leave me your name, number, and email and for a chance to win the Yeti.
You wouldn't be able to advertise that online.
Right, but at the actual
actual
event, you could
event.
have that out there, like have it,
Yeah.
something for them to put their
Yeah.
information down.
Yeah.
And with that, someone's gonna win.
Yeah, because you want to call them with the prize, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so there's a way of doing it. You just have to check exactly how it is, and there are people that do it. I've just never done it because I just have never done it.
And it said something about partnering with a business to get that item or something. Is that what you just read?
Yeah, so considering partnering with a local business for a small discount on services as a raffle price. So now that I think about it, one of the things that I have done is I'm a part of a mom walk group, and they often ask me for sponsorships. So one of the events that we have coming up is a mom walk event, and she asked me to give a self-care basket. And so I'm giving the basket, and what she does is that then she gives me the information of the people that fill out the information. So I just ask her like, hey, I'll give this, but in return, I'm gonna need you to give me the information of the people that fill out the raffle. So I'm not,
But it's her raffle, it's not your raffle. You're just providing a gift or a
yeah, I'm just
sponsorship.
giving a sponsorship, but she in return is like, oh, I'll give you these contacts, so. Mhm. Yeah, so there's ways. I was like, wait, I did do something. So there are ways, there's creative ways of doing it, yeah. Cool. Okay. So after today's sessions, who is going to schedule an open house for this week or the next couple of weeks?
I already put my name on the list.
Okay.
I'll do an open house for you.
I'm going to attend one.
Okay, good. I have one scheduled already for Sunday. Who else?
Come on.
We're working on it.
Okay.
I am, but I'm not doing anything for 2 weeks, so.
Okay. Anyone else?
I'll do one.
Okay. Yay! I'm gonna ask you guys next week. All right, so this is your call to action for today. Make sure that you execute your plan and jump into your first open house. Don't wait. It really is not as scary. I remember when I started, I was doing all the trainings, taking all the classes, and there got a point where I looked at our team lead and I was like, I need to actually do the job now. Like I've learned as much as I can learn and heard as much as I can hear, and I need to execute. So a lot of it is going to be kind of like role play, you know? If you don't practice it, you're not gonna master it. So same with open houses. You get more comfortable having conversations with people as they stepped through the door, the more that you do it. I don't sweat anymore when people come through the door. That's great progress for me. I used to sweat. I sweat when I'm nervous and I don't like being in front of people, so I was like, ah. So yeah,
I don't see.
the
you
more
nervous.
that you do it,
Yeah.
the easier that it gets. So just make sure that you stay consistent with it. Now, each day in Ignite, you grow in how you think, feel, and act. And we've been going through these ahas to achievement. So how has your thinking changed since we started today? What tools are you going to implement? And what do you feel differently about since we started?
I decided to go back to being a mechanic. I could do the real stuff. No, seriously, I'm sorry.
You're on one today.
I've decided, what's changed is I've decided to approach an open house differently than I have in the past. And I'm gonna use this guideline, plus I'm gonna look up I think this is pretty close to the 7
Yeah.
level, but I'm gonna look that up as well.
If you
And
would
I'm
have
gonna
looked at
track
your phone, you would have already had the 7 levels.
What's that?
If you would have looked at your phone, you'd already have the 7 levels.
Oh.
I was trying to send it to you, but I don't.
I'm focusing on the class.
Me too, but I am like, do things in the moment or I forget it because I'm old.
Thank you very much for sending it.
I didn't send it
Oh,
because I don't have your email or anything.
oh, well. Gee whizzers.
Who else would like to share?
I feel like I have a really good start. The information to be successful at an open house.
Yes, I'm glad. Awesome. Okay, we'll take some time to reflect on what we learned about today. I know that there's a team meeting hopping in here soon, so we're gonna wrap up. I will ask you guys tomorrow if you scheduled an open house, by the way. But make sure that.
We always list ours on the internal page, so
Yes, yes.
Ashley Schaefer is our listing manager, so if you're ever looking for an open house, she's always putting them out on the internal.
Is that the KW page?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, and you